Bettor Sports Network.
What the hell else are you going to do on a Thursday night? You're going to go to the bar and get drunk with your friends? All right, if you're 24, you do that. If you're 34, you do that much anymore? Okay.
I'm 44, Ray, and I may do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, what are you going to do on a Thursday night, right? You still got work on Friday. You can't really go hog wild. So Thursday is the perfect placement for games that we didn't know we needed.
Ray will remind us, Thursday night football, man. Just can't trust it. It ruins our league. Right?
It does. I mean,
what do you hate more, Ray? London games or Thursday night football?
Thursday night football. The league doesn't care about competitive battles. They don't. And I'm shocked by it. Again, I'm not surprised. I shouldn't be shocked by it. All they care about is cash. Right?
Now, say what you will about my life, and I know it looks pathetic and sorry and sad, but I'm happy there's football Thursday.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Well, breaking news, all I care about is money, too. Just like the NFL. That's how we live. That's how we do it. Welcome to Lunch Money right here on the Bettor Sports Network. Kyle Elfrink and Ray Flowers with you. Bad news, Ray. Not only is it Thursday, which means Thursday night football, but even worse, week 8 is a London week. We've got another London game, the eagerly anticipated Broncos-Jaguars battle on Sunday morning.
Why?
Well, Ray, I mean, come on, they're our partner in arms. We love the people of England. We have what do they call it? We have a special relationship with them. This is proof positive. We export our beautiful sport to all the Londoners, all the Englanders, all the UKers, everybody, Ray. That's why we do it.
It's good to know that the NFL, in their continuing quest to alienate everyone that's currently a fan in their quest to get more fans, will continue to do things like this. I mean, again, everyone check your lineups, all that kind of stuff. You know, hopefully we don't get another Alvin Kamara situation, blah, blah, blah. But they think this is good for the health of the game. I don't.
There's Ray Flowers chiming in. The NFL is soon to die. Soon to die. I don't know if Thursday night football is going to die. I did see a report though, Ray. Remember week 1 had like great numbers, a lot of big numbers, a lot of viewers. I don't want to say it's cratered. And of course, like in week 1, there's the the interest factor of the first time ever and all that. But I did see the numbers have taken a fairly significant fall. I want to say, God, was it like 17 million in week 1, and I think it's down to like 12 last week. Last week was a pretty good game. Tonight's an interesting game with the Ravens and the Bucks. We'll see what the numbers are. And honestly, Ray, I'll tell you this: the fact they're even getting 12 million people to jump on the internet and watch a game, or to fire up their smart TV and watch a game, I'm kind of surprised by that as is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah. Again, I have to be careful here, right? Because I mean, at a certain level,
no, you don't, Ray. Come on, man. You're bulletproof. You're Teflon.
The NFL has got me in their crosshairs because of my reach and my ability to impact their product. So I have to be cautious with my words. I mean, more football is what people apparently want.
Yeah.
And so they're giving the people what they want, Kyle.
Yep, they want more football. I will tell you what I do not need more of, and you nailed it. Has gotten so long and it's gotten so unruly and so uncontrollable, but that, Ray, I've fallen into the hat world today. Which I think, what have we been doing this now? I mean, almost exactly 2 months, a little over 2 months. This is kind of rare for Kyle Elfrink to go this long without donning a hat. I want everybody to know I've been making sacrifices by cleaning up, by showering, no baths, but by showering, cleaning up, freshening up, shaving, getting the product in the hair, kind of trying to look presentable. Today, Ray, I gave up on that. I did shower, but I said, screw this. I'm done with the hair. I'm just wearing a hat, throwing on the hat and calling it a day and getting ready for the show.
Yeah, it's interesting that I'm always reluctant to wear jerseys on the show because I feel like it's so cliche. Wearing a hat or a jersey, it's kind of cliche. Oh, we're sports guys. This is how we dress all the time. So I think I wore my Astros jersey once, a Giants jersey once, maybe another Giants jersey. So I think the Marshall Faulk jersey, right? So I think I've worn a jersey 3 times. And today was my 4th, which happens to coincide with your hat day. So again, this is not prepared. Kyle and I, contrary to popular belief, do not sync our wardrobes before the show. But we're both going a little bit off the beaten path today.
This appears to be a rather ugly jersey. Is that a hockey jersey? Is that like a Dallas Stars like alternate jersey?
See,
What the hell's
Kyle,
going on
it's
here?
deceiving. It is a hockey jersey. You're correct there, but it's a magnificent jersey.
A what?
Magnificent.
Who the hell's that? Oh, Guinness.
It's a Guinness jersey, Kyle.
Not bad. Not bad, I do say, Ray.
1759 on the sleeve, 1759. It says Guinness on the back. You can't really see it, but yeah, it's a Guinness jersey.
How many pints did you have to suffer through to get that? Like, did you have to save up proof of purchases and, kind of like the old cereal boxes back in the day where you'd clip the box and send it in and get like a toy pencil? I mean, how'd you get this thing?
Yeah, I remember that too. With Star Wars, used to clip the things off and send them in to Kenner. No, this is actually a holiday gift. I saw it online and I said, hey guys, my family, I'd love to have this. And so they picked it up, and I got to tell you, it's pretty comfortable. It's got the signature there of the gent that started. I mean, it's actually like a lot of times the crest is hard. This one's very soft. So you could actually sleep in this. Very comfortable. Let me see. I don't think there's a fighting strap. No fighting strap in the back.
Which is shocking because you would think a brew
that
is produced in Ireland. You'd think when they make a hockey uniform, you've got to have a fighting strap. That should be mandatory because we know how the Irish are, Ray. Always ready to throw down. I mean, there's a football team, the Fighting Irish. I'm stunned there's not a fighting strap on that sucker.
There's not. Now, I am unaware. I think there's only one level of jersey from Guinness. I don't think that they have a replica and an authentic jersey. This might be the replica. Maybe the authentic jersey has the tie-down strap for the fighting, but I'm going to assume there's only one option. I think it's $60, $70, maybe 75. It's not that, it's what it is, but it's comfortable. I'm wearing it today. I'm representing, and let's go.
Well, it looks good. Yeah, let's go. Let's get moving. Welcome to everybody who's hanging out with us today. Yes, indeed. Week 8 will begin. We'll take an in-depth look at the Ravens and the Bucks. I know Tyler Beaker's back with us, so that should be fun. Great to have everybody out there in viewing land, in listening land, however you are enjoying this episode of Lunch Money. We hope you do enjoy it. And if you are, always hit that fun button. Fun button that tells us that what we are doing you like. We got the chat room open. A lot of our usuals are hanging out in there. If you've never been in there, fire up some questions. Even if Ray and I can't get to your questions, believe me, the help in the chat room, it's there. And Ray, although you're not going to sign off on all these guys, you do know some of these guys from the Fantasy Guru Discord, and
Absolutely.
that most of these guys have a decent working knowledge. They're not Ray level, but Ray, if you can't get to the answer, those guys are pretty decent help in there.
They are, yeah. And it's great to see, the fantasyguru.com crew here as well on the show. Spread the word, guys, gals. Let everyone know we're doing this. It's free. People can sign up as you have done. So let them know. If anyone out there listening who has signed up, thank you. If you haven't signed up at fantasyguru.com, you can use the code Bettor, Bettor, and get a discount on any of the products over at fantasyguru.com. The seasonal one, if you want to jump into that still, you can sign up for baseball. You can get into hockey, basketball. You can do the DFS, daily game for all of it. We've got the wagering stuff. So we've got the products over there, and it includes all of you, the great listeners and followers. And yes, the folks in the chat room are always happy to help out if we're not able to get to the questions.
Yeah, chat room's fun. There's a lot of good stuff in that chat room. They even help us with some content occasionally, so we appreciate them. Call button is there too. If you want to jump on board and make sure that your question gets answered, by all means, jump on that call button. I will relate that next Monday is a big day around these parts because next Monday is officially Halloween. So just to let everybody know, today's Thursday. You've got 3 or 4 days, which honestly for me is never enough. I'm not into Halloween. Ray is. Ray has dozens of costumes. For me, it's whatever's lying around. I've never in my life bought a Halloween costume. Just never. Ray, how many have you bought? A dozen? Probably more?
Well, over the years, I would say at least 2 dozen. Because I try to get a new one every year. That was kind of my thing. And if you're smart about this, which I assume a lot of people are, right? There's Black Friday for TVs or dishwashers or whatever. The day or two or week after Halloween, everything goes on sale. So you can get sometimes things for 50, 60, 75% off. So I probably have, without looking, I haven't done it yet. I haven't looked yet. I probably have 30 costumes in the
I
store.
kind of misspoke because I think as a child, you'd buy costumes. Your parents would do that. I've not bought one probably since age 10 or something. But the last costume I remember buying and wearing was a Snoopy getup. Now, this was not a furry Snoopy getup. Don't put me in that category at all. Ray, this was one of those old-fashioned ones where, like, and this, I don't even know, kids nowadays, Ray, I don't know, maybe their costumes are like this, but it was like you'd strap on and pull up this plastic sticky top, and then you'd have the mask with
plastic.
the elastic band, and you'd have just the two nose holes, maybe a slit in your mouth, and that was how you were supposed to breathe. And I just remember the stickiness of the plastic getup. But I remember being Snoopy dressed that way. That's like the last one I can recall.
I absolutely have remember those. I was Batman multiple times. I was funny. I was actually the $6 Million Man. Kyle, I didn't mention this when we were talking about him last week. I actually was 1 year. So I absolutely remember the costumes, the plastic, the pull over the shoulder, the little strap with the nose. Yeah, I remember, Kyle.
Okay, well, next Monday's the day. I cannot guarantee I'll be dressed. I cannot guarantee Ray will be dressed. But if you want to get dressed and call in next Monday, maybe you've got a really creative outfit, show it off to us. That's the beauty of what we do here. We can not only hear you, we can see you. Yes, you. Just by hitting that call button, boom, you're in. So take advantage of that. Get your ideas together, and next Monday we'll have a little fun. We'll plan some items. Maybe everybody who calls Ray will hand out candy to him somehow, some way. We'll get you candy. We can send candy in the mail, right? We can do that. So that'll be fun next week. As for today, let's get rolling with the lunch menu. Get you set for what we've got coming over the next 3 hours. Always beginning with the appetizer. So Ray, where do you begin today on Thursday?
We're going to talk a little baseball here the next couple of days. So I thought, why not keep that going here at the start of the show? We'll have tons of football, of course. This is a weird one, but it's not a weird one. This is like, it's going to happen, but we're in that Netherland where we're all sitting there thinking, oh, is it going to happen? It's going to happen, and the whole process is confusing to me. David Stern has stepped down as the president of baseball operations for the Brewers. Now, he's staying with the organization in an advisory role. Everyone in baseball has already written the article in 10 minutes after this was announced that he's going to the Mets. Like, everyone knows he's going to the Mets.
He's from New York, right?
Huh? Yeah. He's from there.
Yeah, he's from there, right?
He's from there. The Mets have tried to get him before. So if you're stepping down, just go. Like, what is stepping down? Like, why do the Brewers say, yeah, we'll let you step down, but we're going to keep you around as an advisor? Huh? I'm so confused by this. So
I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Ray. Not that it's a negotiation tactic. He's not jobless. So the Mets can't just lowball him, or any team. They can't just he can always go back to the Brewers. And so there's no embarrassment from either side.
Okay.
If he doesn't leave.
Okay.
Now again, you're right. Everybody knows where he's going or where he wants to go. But for him, it's like, well, the Mets are going to lowball me if I don't have a job. They know I want to go there. I'm from there, all that stuff. Tons of money to spend. They don't have that in Milwaukee. I think, Ray, it's nothing but negotiation. That's all it is. And the Brewers even know what's going on there.
Yeah, they do. And I actually looked into this a little bit just to see if there was now apparently his contract had a clause that he could opt out if the Brewers won the pennant, which of course they did not. So that goes to your point, Kyle. Now it's still like, do they let him out? One of those things. But basically, the expectation is that the Brewers will, I guess, ask for some compensation because technically he's still under contract. So the Brewers still, so maybe the Brewers said, yeah, you can step down, but you can only step down to another role because you can't.
You're going to have to give us Jake DeGrom if you want David Stern.
Exactly. May not work out that way, but yeah. So I don't know. This whole the negotiating in public and the machinations of business, and that's part of the sports world, but it's really dumb because we all know what's going to happen. It's just, I guess now the negative is in 2022, we know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, we would have never heard about this. It would have just occurred and there would have been a buyout and now we just get all the information in an immediate short term.
Well, and the other thing that's changed a lot, and it speaks to this situation, Ray, like one thing I am struggling with in Major League Baseball is figuring out which teams actually give power to the general manager and which teams have like an executive of baseball operations. Like, and what is that guy? Like, they've created these titles. And what has happened in the last 10 years, Ray, is teams want to keep GMs or up and comers, small markets, whatever it is. And so they just make up titles that allows you to elevate them, to promote them, to give them a slight bump in pay. But the problem is, from where I sit, Ray, I don't know who the hell's in charge anymore. Because we have some GMs, like I even think Stearns, Ray, was he officially the GM? I don't think he was. He was like the executive VP of opera. I don't know, whatever the hell the title.
President of this and VP of that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But the GM really didn't have the say in trades or contracts, which for decades, Ray, that's the guy. It's the GM, but now that's not the case, and it's not every team. Like some GMs are still traditional GMs. Other GMs are guys who are like second or third in command, and it's like, who do you blame? And I guess it's beautiful for these guys in the jobs, because like I just said, Ray, who do you blame? I don't even know who's making the decisions. I can't fire anybody because I don't know who made that bad call. So I don't know. The whole GM thing in baseball is getting kind of silly, I think.
Yeah, we did. I used to host a show with Jim Bowden on Sirius. It was the GM's Corner, and Jim knows everyone, former GM. So we'd bring all these guys on. And I remember, too, I always, he would send out, these are the 2 or 3 guys we're talking to this week. And it hardly ever said GM or only GM. It was like, you go to the doctor's office and there's like 37 letters after the doctor's name or a lawyer. It's like, oh, yeah, but the GM was like the 4th part of the title. So there have been a lot of movement, if you will, a lot of terminology, if you will, a lot of roles potentially created, as you suggest, Kyle.
Would you, Ray, as somebody who probably has since the age of 6 dreamed of running a baseball team, would you prefer to be in a spot like Stearns was in Milwaukee, where he was a big fish in a little pond? He'd built something. He'd grown something. They have a little bit of money, not a ton, but they got a beautiful stadium, really good fan support in Milwaukee, good team, not a great team, good team. They've been that way for 8 years or so now.
Yeah.
Would you rather be that, or would you rather go to like New York, LA, Boston, a huge market where the pressure like ratchets up
a gazillion?
Yeah, a gazillion. To me, I kind of like the Milwaukee aspect. Now, I'm a Midwest guy. To me, the clutter and tightness of like Boston does not appeal to me to live in. Like, I love visiting New York City. I would never, ever want to live there. Visit it, it's fun. I just wouldn't want to live there. Too many people. Can't get anywhere quickly. Like, the beauty of where I live in St. Louis, Ray, I got everything I need.
Right.
I got good restaurants. I got all the national chains, all that stuff. I have access to like literally one of the jokes in St. Louis, Ray, is literally I can get anywhere in 15 to 20 minutes. Like it's just that easy to get around. You're in San Francisco or near San Francisco. Right. It probably isn't, it's kind of getting to that Boston level, I guess, that it's at that Dallas level. You've grown your whole life up in like sitting on the highway, the busyness of life, lots of people. What do you think you'd prefer as a baseball GM? I'm a Midwest guy. I'd stay there.
Well, I'll say this. I had to get a drape fixed, and the official drape cleaners across the bay. So I ran over there yesterday after I did all my audio stuff, came back and worked.
Like the official drape cleaner of the San Francisco Giants, or what?
It's the Hunter Douglas repair artist.
Okay.
So, yeah.
An artist. I am a drape repair artist.
And GM.
Hey, Mom, that's what I got. My degree for drape repair. Aren't you proud of me?
And he's also a GM, Kyle. So I drove over there. The reason I say this is because I drove over there yesterday and then, came back and worked after. But when I drove over there, I was reverse traffic. Because everyone lives in the East Bay because it's less expensive. They drive over to the peninsula where the jobs are. I was going in a different direction. I was going to the East Bay in the afternoon to get it fixed, then coming home. So I left here at 3:00, and it's 15 miles across the bridge. I got there like in 21 minutes. It's perfect.
Yeah, awesome.
Coming home took like 24 minutes. Perfect. When I was coming home, I'm looking at the other side of the freeway at like 4:15. It's bumper to bumper. It's 4:15 and it's bumper to bumper, and that's it takes at least an hour and a half in rush hour to go the same distance it took me 21 minutes yesterday if you're going with traffic. I hate traffic. every freeway we have here needs at least
You
2 more
also
lanes.
don't like people, Ray. That's
What?
another thing. You don't like people.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, that's fair.
He likes animals. Ray would rather live out in like some kind of nature preserve with wild coyotes than to live in the Bay
That
Area.
does sound pretty nice. But no, I mean, I like to go to my other house, which is like 5 miles away. It takes like 19 minutes. It's 5 miles, and 4 of those miles are on the freeway. So I would absolutely. There's no possible way I would ever move to New York. Never. It's terrible here to start with. That's the one huge negative about living where I live is the traffic. Do you want to be the small, big pond fish? I understand wanting to take the next challenge. You've done a really good thing with a mid-small market team. They've had success. You want to challenge yourself. You want to go home. I get David Stern's, wanting to do that. I totally get it. Would that be the decision I would make? Probably not.
Now I want it to be known as much as I like the Midwest. I don't want to live in like I don't know, Wichita or Des Moines. Okay, I don't want to go there. But just to confirm that. But there's a lot of gyms here in the Midwest I would go to. Tons of them. Ray wouldn't. I think Ray would get tired of the pace here. But Ray, I got to tell you, I was driving home this morning from dropping the kid off at school. The fall foliage. My goodness. The fall foliage, Ray. It's a beauty. It's a beauty right now. Prime season for leaf watching. And I know everybody on the coast is saying, seriously? People watch leaves? Yeah, we do. We watch leaves. We also rake them. We burn them. We do a lot of things with leaves. We jump in them.
Right.
We do a ton with leaves out here in the Midwest.
I like watching watch HGTV a lot at night. It's, easy on the eyes and the brain and all that. When they take the overhead shot, middle America at this time of year and the trees are all different colors and it looks like a Bob Ross painting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
One of the advantages. Okay. Appetizer for me, I'm going to indulge and kind of bounce around, Ray, in one of the favorite pastimes of sports fans everywhere. Sports fans love moaning and complaining about something I'm going to moan and complain about. We love moaning about overpaid players.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the most exciting part of anybody's job. That guy's overpaid. Ray, today's target,
Okay.
Mr. Ben Simmons of the Brooklyn Nets.
Well,
I don't know how many people have followed this, but this guy is a joke. He can't shoot. He has zero confidence. Last night, Kyrie Irving, it's everywhere. Kyrie Irving's like yelling at him, shoot the ball, dude. Like we were talking yesterday about playing with like LeBron and Davis and, how hard that can be because you always want to serve them up for the shot. Brooklyn's got Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, but Ben Simmons was brought in to be like the big number 3. Mm-hmm. Right now, they're 4 games in. They're 1-3. I pulled up the numbers. And, this is embarrassing, Ray. And I'll get to the money in a bit, but I want to give you the numbers first. Okay. So let's give you the facts, and then we'll complain about the money. 5.7 points per game, 4.3 shots per game. If you're the 9th guy on the rotation, that's fine. This is the number 3 guy. For the season, 21 points against 18 fouls.
Nice ratio.
This is the amazing thing, Ray. When I think of the current day NBA, don't you think about 3-pointers? Like that's the smart shot now. Everybody just stands around, throws up threes. Right. Ben Simmons has been in the league since 2016. Now, he's missed a couple of years. He missed his rookie year. He missed last season.
Yeah.
This all kind of gets to the overpaid stuff.
That too, yeah.
But in all of his time, Ray, he has shot 35 threes. 35. I get it. You're not a 3-point shooter. You're a center. I get that. Ben Simmons is not a center. Ben Simmons has the ball in his hands. He's 5 for 35 in his career. 5 for 35. He shoots under 60% from the line in his career.
He shoots free throws like he's Mark Eaton.
Yeah. He set out his rookie year. He set out last season. He's already complaining about a back injury this year. His back's acting up. This all leads money to the complaint. Here's the money part. Ben Simmons, who has missed 2 years, who is pretty well ran himself out of Philadelphia.
Quit last year too. Let's just say it, Kyle. He quit last year.
Yeah, he quit. He quit last year. I'll tread lightly here. he hid behind a problem that was mostly undiagnosable. Okay, I'll just say that. That's what I'll say about Ben Simmons. He has now overcome that problem, I guess. Anyway, Ben Simmons has made over $90 million already. Ray, the next 3 years, Ben Simmons is going to be making about $115 million in 3 years. This will put his lifetime earnings at well north of $200 million. He can't shoot threes. He can't shoot from the free throw line. He refuses to shoot. He has almost as many fouls as points. He's missed 2 entire seasons. There are things off the court that seem to bother him and keep him away from the team. What in the hell are we doing? And I know what we can say, Ray. Well, he didn't, he's not paying himself. That kind of guy, Ray, gives everybody else a bad name. That is a joke. That guy is the most overpaid dude known to sports right now. Ben Simmons. So I'll just be the latest person to pile on. Everybody's picking on him, and I just wanted to join the crowd. Thought everybody should know that Ben Simmons is a disaster, but he's richer than like all of us watching right now, Ray. All of us. The 500,000 viewers that we have right now, put all of our money this year together. Mm-hmm. We're not getting close to Ben Simmons over the next 3 years. 115 million. Woo!
I'm glad you brought it up because Ray Flowers, who doesn't follow the NBA, was like looking at this situation last year. And I'm talking to my nephew. We talk about him on the show. We talk about the show all the time, how he loves hoops and everything. And I'm like, you need to stop cheering for this guy. Stop supporting this guy. And he's like, what? I go, because, he's 12, right? I'm trying to, what do we got here? We got a guy that says he's hurt. Okay, fine. He's supposed to be healthy now. He goes to practice. He wears sweatpants. He has his cell phone in his pocket. There's photos of this, right? Everyone knows. There's cell phone in his pocket. He's not listening to his coach. His coach tells him to do something. He won't do it.
Yeah.
So he gets sent home from practice. This guy is a fraud. Yeah. He's a fraud.
Here's the other thing, Ray. It's like you've had 5-6 years to learn to shoot. You still can't shoot.
But it's not even that. You're right. But he's a fraud. He quit last year. He just decided he didn't want to play. And a lot of people think, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, that this stemmed from the fact that he felt too much pressure from the playoff loss. Like he felt he got too much of the blame from the fans. So that mentally damaged him. Like, come on, man. And, we talk all the time about football contracts being bad and baseball contracts in particular. We don't spend near enough time talking about some of the disastrous NBA contracts. Mm-hmm. The NBA, I mean, we laugh the Yankees or the Dodgers, these teams that spend so much money. The NBA is insanity. It is utter insanity what these guys do. Guys that listeners have never heard of make $8 million a year. You've never heard this person's name in your entire. They're making $8 million on like a 5-year contract. You've never heard of them. And it's everywhere. And to think that Simmons, who is a fraud, who in a best case scenario has physical issues that will dog him the rest of his career, who talked his way out of an organization, who whined his way out of an organization, and who isn't a very good player in certain key aspects of the game in 2022, is making $200 million? Who's giving these contracts out?
Well, and I understand you go out and do it. You do it, Kyle. Okay, here's the thing. Ray, if you told me for the next month, Kyle, go outside, and you don't have to worry about job, Kyle. Ray will handle the show. You go outside, and every day I want you to shoot 200 free throws. Okay? Ray, within a month, I would be rolling circles around Ben Simmons, who can't hit 60% of his free throws. And he supposedly has been working on them for 5 or 6 years. Like, the free throw thing with me, Ray, is something I've never understood. I kind of get it if you're Shaquille and you're just a huge dude and the mechanics can go wrong. I get that. And Shaquille's, he's not paid to make free throws. Ben Simmons, Ray, is not like some 7'3" dude. He's not some giant. He's had his whole life to work on free throws and he still can't hit more than 60%. Then you're not working. Is that unfair? Is that unfair, Ray, for me to say that if you still can't hit 60% of your free throws and you're Ben Simmons, then you're probably not working hard enough at it? Is that fair? I think it is, but
there are some people that just can't shoot. It's just that it's true. And a lot of times, like we heard Shaquille O'Neal, a lot of that, like what his hand went around the ball, right? His hands were so big, like it was like he was shooting a softball. And when your hand gets too big, okay, so there are some excuses. But to your point, if you sat there and, like you said, practiced diligently, free throw, you shot 500 a day, I've never seen you shoot a basketball. I would say you can make 60% of your free throws. And you're not a professional athlete. You're not paid, all this kind of thing. So, and I will say this, he will never do it because clearly he's traumatized. Shoot underhand. If you legitimately can't make 60% of your free throws, go talk to Rick Barry over the summer, have him teach you how to shoot free throws, and you'll hit more than 60%. So if you really cared, even if you practice, and you just can't shoot it underhand, you could.
Well, the other part of me, Ray, says, why care about any of that stuff if I'm making $115 million regardless? That money's all guaranteed. It's like, why work on anything?
Yeah.
Why do it? Appetizer. Little baseball, little basketball, which leads us now to football. Main course today, obviously Thursday Night Football. I mentioned Tyler Beaker is going to join us. Side dishes today. We got injury news. We got game previews, got the lunch hunch. We got Duke's Den. We're going to talk a little World Series. That series begins tomorrow. We also have breaking news. Literally, as I'm complaining about Ben Simmons, there is another player that Ray and I have been joking about for weeks here on Lunch Money. We have been slightly mocking this player for weeks.
Slightly.
And Ray, just like we were talking about, Midwest, Coast, Midwest, this player has just been traded. He's leaving New York City. He's coming to Kansas City, Missouri. Tell us about the trade that just went down.
Yeah, this one, acquire talent, give yourself an opportunity to win a championship. We saw the Rams do this. They traded draft picks. They went for it. It worked. The Chiefs are now not following the same plan, but following the same plan. The Chiefs, who lost Tyreek Hill, replaced him with Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They also drafted Sky Moore. We saw a 3-touchdown man, Mecole Hardman, right? They've got weapons here. Do they need another receiver? I'm going to say no. But they went for it anyway. And the reason they went for it is they got a guy who has a lot of talent. They did trade a 3rd and a 6th round pick, so this wasn't cheap. But Mr. Hamstring-less Kadarius Toney is now a Chief, and watch, Kyle, his hamstrings will miraculously heal, and he will be playing next week, guaranteed, for the Chiefs.
Kadarius Toney traded by the Giants at Chiefs just happened. Again, the trade deadline's next week. Ray, this is wild because he has done nothing this year. Absolutely nothing. He can't even practice. Why the Chiefs would make this trade? This screams that the Chiefs, okay, hey, we'll give the Giants a call. We'll give all these teams a call, see if they got any wide receivers. And the Giants probably said, you know what? You want to take this problem? You want to take this guy we drafted and just get him off our hands? Just move on. And Brian Dable, we've heard this, Ray. He's not going to suffer fools. Mm-hmm. This is probably an example. Yep. I would suggest if Kenny Golladay wasn't making Ben Simmons type money, he'd be on his way out too.
Agreed.
Tony's not making that money. It's a lot of... But, Ray, this screams attitude problem, and the Chiefs have really become the spot. If you look at signings and moves they've made, they have become a spot that tries to resuscitate these attitude problems. So they're doing it with Toney. I have no idea if it's going to work. I know there's excitement already because even when Toney wasn't playing, people cared about him. Mm-hmm. They really cared about him. He's available in leagues, Ray. Just like the Giants, a lot of owners in fantasy football gave up on the dude. Not waiting around for this crap. Hell, he's going to be catching passes from Daniel Jones. They're a run-first offense. Kansas City is not that. This is Patrick Mahomes. This is an offense that likes to throw. One issue's got to be right off the top is all the mouths to feed. Like, this is a lot of weaponry for Pat Mahomes. Credit to the Chiefs. To your point, I don't know if it's necessary, but people are going to be talking about Toney and the idea of adding him immediately.
Interestingly enough, I was going through my teams this morning, and in the one league that you and I are doing together, I have Toney. We talked about it yesterday. I damn near dropped him. Luckily, I didn't because he would have been the big addition now. Many things going on here. One, excuse me, the Chiefs paid. This is not a low-level price.
Yeah.
This is 2 picks. The 6th rounder, okay. The 3rd rounder, But Ray, he's a first round. I get it, but like Kyle said, he hasn't done anything. He's proven nothing at the NFL level at all. He hasn't been healthy. That's part of this. So they paid a high price. 2, they drafted Sky Moore. Is this an admission that no, Sky Moore ain't it? I mean, are they already saying that? Because they're in essence now they have 3 of the same guy. They've got Moore, Hardman, and Tony. They've got 3 of the same player. And there's only so many, like you said, snaps to go around, only so many targets to go around. So what do we do here? Now, remember, they added Josh Gordon, so they're always adding pieces trying to see, right? But I think this is as much about, Hardman, we've given him some chances. He's okay. Sky Moore, we've given him some chances. He's not ready. Let's get Tony and see if we can do something here. And Tony's still second year in the league, right? He's got multiple years left on his contract. It's a good addition talent-wise. I'm reading Twitter as we're sitting here. I see people that, experts, people that give advice saying, oh, yeah, he's the most talented guy on their team, add him immediately, all these kind of things. It's like, guys, if Tony is on the waiver wire, yeah, if you can run to the waiver wire right now and get him, do it. 100% do it. Blow your team up, make some trade, think you're getting a top 25 receiver the rest of the way. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on that, Kyle.
Pretty interesting with the way this team's now being built, right? And I get it. You have Patrick Mahomes. Why run the ball? Like, that's kind of what's being said here, Ray. And this whole backfield, who's the guy who gets the carries? I don't even know if it matters anymore with the Chiefs because, Ray, they're not married to running the football. This is a team that is lassoed to throwing the football. When you start to look at all this weaponry and pass catchers and everything, it's pretty silly. It's kind of overkill. And they just lost Frank Clark for a couple of games. And, give them credit. They've been good for the last 3 or 4 years. A lot of that, of course, having to do with Mahomes. I just looked at this receiving core, Ray, and it's like, did they need this? Well, there was nothing on the surface. Like, you look at Pat Mahomes' numbers, and, I mean, my God, the last 3 weeks, he's gone 292-4, 338-4, or excuse me, 338-2, 423-3. He went 250-3. Like, this offense is howling. It's like it's sharp right now when they pass. And now you throw in Tony. I guess that's my real hesitation, Ray, is it's a great landing spot, but we really don't know what this kid is. Why has he refused to play this year? Was he injured? Is this an attitude? You throw him in. What is he looking for? Scraps? Everybody is going to be hot to trot for him. But unless the Chiefs move on from somebody else, it's kind of tough for me to get amped about adding Kadarius Toney, just because there may be 1 or 2 good games here, but consistency, I just can't see it developing this season over the final 8 or 9 weeks.
And again, we'll get all the information. This happened 10 minutes ago when we started talking about it. But on the surface, when I see this trade and I see a 3rd and a 6th round pick going in exchange for Toney, that's an overpay. People were thinking like 4th, 5th round pick maybe for Toney. They got 2 picks, including a 3rd rounder. So the Chiefs paid. They wanted this guy. So this is another one of the example of, I don't know if it's the underwear Olympics that I always joke about. Like, everything on the surface looks great here, but Toney has proven nothing at the NFL level. In fact, he's gone in reverse since the day he was drafted. Okay. That's just the reality of it. Is he a talented guy? Could there be an opportunity? Could he explode? Yes, but he could explode positively or negatively. To Kyle's point, if he goes to Kansas City and, he's playing 18 snaps and getting 3 targets a week, is he going to hurt his hamstring again? I don't know. I mean, he's proven nothing to this point about being a warrior, about being a good teammate, about being on the field, proven that at all. So maybe the Chiefs trade Hardman. I can't see them trading Sky Moore at this point. He's just too young in his development. Maybe they would trade Hardman. But given the group that they've got now, 5 legitimate guys that deserve to be on the field, there's a problem for snaps there in Kansas City.
And maybe an injury is going on. Who knows? Maybe something has happened. Maybe there's a suspension. There's a myriad of things that could force the Chiefs' hand. They are a pass-first offense, and they're going to be really pass-first. They're admitting to everybody, that's what we do. That's how we're going to do it. I sense, this is my opinion, and I know I'm in the minority, but, Ray, this is so much more smoke than fire, I think, with Toney. That's where I'm standing on this. Like, last week, 2 weeks ago, what it was when the Akers news came out, and like on air, I was going to pick up Malcolm Brown. Ray, I'm not even checking my teams right now. That's how I'm playing this. Last week, I got to check my teams because it's a running back. Maybe it's available. I'll go get him. Kadarius Toney, I'm not even checking my leagues. I'm
Wow.
not even
Okay.
making that run. That's where I stand. I think this is way more hype than anything else because this kid's been hyped like crazy as is, and now he's going to the Chiefs. He hasn't done anything, like nothing, and he's not going to a team that needs him. He's going to a team that wants him, but they don't need him.
No.
Ray, I want guys who are in need, like their team has to use them. I don't see that with Tony.
Well, yeah, and that's totally fair. Now, if he shows up and he's healthy and he's a good soldier and he does the right things and he impresses and he makes some plays when he's on the field, this can change. It's not like Sky Moore who can't field punts or McCole Hardman who can't separate himself from his teammates. It's not like those guys have a lockdown on the role there. Like if Tony were to ascend, he could pass those two guys. He could. But there's so many questions. And, to your point, you talk about the Chiefs being a place where, they're willing to take chances. And they are. They've got a very spotty history of drafting guys that have problems, of adding guys on the trade market that have problems, coaching staff that has had problems. Like this place is a borderline rehab facility. I mean, it's bad.
An animal house there.
It is kind of. And, so they're willing to take chances on these guys. And I think at the end with Tony, it's a twofold issue, right? It's where is he at mentally and where is he at physically? It's both. The mental part probably improves going here. Immediately, I'm sure he's stoked. Now, what happens, though, when he gets out there and he realizes I'm playing 22 snaps this week? I'm not playing.
That's what I'm getting at, Ray. It's like he's not stealing work from Kelsey or Smith-Schuster, and I don't know, maybe Hardman doesn't get the chances, or Marquez Valdez-Scantling. It's like he's just another dude for them to throw to. And, you were talking about, like, the background of some of these guys who come to Kansas City. How about the simple fact that they've, like, had multiple chances to make Hardman a thing? It really hasn't worked. Sky Moore is not a thing. You brought in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. That's not a thing. Like, the Chiefs have had Pat Mahomes the whole time. Ray, they have tried a litany of receivers. And really, Tyreek Hill and I guess you could say Smith-Schuster are the only ones who've hit. As good as this offense is, you've got Kelsey and whoever the number one receiver is. The other guys just kind of rotate through. They come and go from week to week. I don't really see that changing, honestly. It's been that way for 4 years with Pat Mahomes of, hey, it's Kelsey. Hey, it's whoever the top receiver is. And then who's that second, third, fourth guy? Like, we've gone through this a dozen times in the fantasy world, Ray, of, oh, man, second receiver in a Pat Mahomes offense, and it never clicks. So I'm going to go with history on this one. Say it won't click, at least not this year. I'm not feeling this year for Kadarius Toney the rest of the way.
And I'll say this because we're focusing on the Chiefs side. Let's talk about the Giants side real quick. Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson are now locked in. They're just locked in. So anyone that's added those guys over the last couple of weeks, you got to feel really good about their opportunity.
No.
You have to. But what are they? Are they going to make a trade? Are they going to make a trade?
But why are they? Kadarius Toney hadn't played all year. These guys are no different than they were 4 weeks ago. He wasn't playing then. He's not playing now.
But what the point is, right now, Robinson and Slayton the last couple of weeks have been their 1 and 2. There's no threat.
What is that the rest of the way? 8, 9 games. What are you getting? You getting 45 catches at all from any of those guys? I don't think you are.
Well, again, Kyle, I didn't say they're going to be superstars. I said they're locked into their roles. Okay, you look at the depth.
They're not starters. It doesn't matter. Like this to me, Ray. It doesn't matter.
Well,
they're the same guys they were yesterday, the same guys they were 2 weeks ago, the same guys they were a month ago. You still shouldn't be starting them.
But Kyle, it's not like in week 12 we lose what they offer. Now we get what they have.
What they offer, they're bench guys. They don't offer anything.
They are bench guys, and let me tell you, people want to play bench guys over Chris Godwin.
Yeah,
I get questions about these guys all the time. You should see the Wan'Dale Robinson questions. They're everywhere.
And I hate that. Like, to me, like, who cares about Darius Slayton? Like, does anybody think Darius Slayton's going to emerge as a top 35 receiver this year?
He could. He could also be 48.
No, he can't.
Yes, he could.
He can't,
he
Ray.
Absolutely could. They have no one to throw the ball to.
He's been with the Giants for 4 years. They don't throw the football. They don't. Look at the numbers. They're not throwing the football. He can't be a top 35 receiver. Book it. It's not happening. Book it, Ray.
Book it. Okay. The last 2 weeks, I mean, touchdown. 2 of the last 3 weeks, got a touchdown or 6 catches. I mean, that's, and again, it's 10 PPR points.
Weeks? What are the 3 weeks? Give me the 3 weeks total.
3 weeks total. 6 for 79, 3 for 58 and a touchdown, 1 catch for 18 yards.
Yeah.
So in total, it's 10 points a week. So, I mean, again, the idea that these guys are going to explode in an offense that throws it 27 times, they're not. You're right. They're not. Okay. We've also got injuries. We've also got bye weeks. Next week is a killer bye week. Everyone's on bye next week. So guys like Slayton and Robinson are certainly going to be viable options for team. Wait, when do the Giants have their bye before I say that? New York. Yeah. Okay. They're on bye next week. Okay. I thought so.
They're still not viable.
They're not viable until week 10. But no, all I'm saying is that, Marcus Johnson, David Sills, Richie James, Kenny Galladay, like, the Giants lost a talent in this trade. Will the Giants go out and make a trade to help a team that is trending, that is ascending, has got a chance to win the division? Because to your point, if you're going Slayton Robinson, Marcus Johnson, David Sills, can you win? It's an open-ended question.
Yeah. You can win in the regular season when your schedule is a last place schedule. You cannot win when you play good teams. And people are, they beat the Packers. They're not a good team. They're not a good team. I'm sorry, the Packers aren't. Jacksonville, not a good team. Okay? Talk to me when the Giants are beating the Cowboys, when the Giants are beating the Eagles, when the Giants are beating the Niners, when the Giants are beating the Vikings. And I get it. You can only play the guys on your schedule. And because of the way the NFL is built, they got an easy schedule. That's just the facts. And they're taking advantage of it. But the idea that the Giants are going to create some kind of stud receiver here, or Tony being out of the way makes you excited for Wan'Dale Robinson? No excitement, Ray. No excitement.
Not going to be in your top 10 anytime soon?
Didn't say that. Didn't say that, Ray. He won't be this week and he won't be next week. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah. After that check-in come week 10. So again, big news. Kadarius Toney traded from the Giants to the Chiefs. It will be exciting to see how quickly the hamstrings heal. That's going to be a fun one. Now the Chiefs are on bye, so they will have a chance to get Toney up to speed, as long as he doesn't sprain anything coming off the airplane, landing in Kansas City. So we'll see how that goes. More trades may be coming. A lot of rumors going around, people looking for help in the backfield, of course. We got wide receivers that are always on the market. We got injured tight ends that some teams are looking to replace. So it could be a busy final 4 or 5 days before we get into the trading deadline. Okay, so we got you set with our appetizer, main course, sides. Bet du jour for today, Ray. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to the Bucs game. The Bucs were thrashed by an inferior team. They have everything in the world to prove. Their season kind of hangs in the balance, if we're being honest, right, tonight. Mike Evans had the worst drop in NFL history. I termed it on Monday. I'm sticking with it when he dropped that would have been a 65-yard touchdown right in his hands with 11 yards of separation, 10.9 from the nearest defender. He absolutely must rebound from that. The team must rebound from that. I know he's got an ankle issue, but he's going to play through it. He is a plus 125 to get a touchdown tonight. He will get in the end zone tonight. He scored 13 touchdowns in 9 games at home, but he's getting in the end zone tonight to make up for the disaster that was last week, Kyle.
I've also got a bet du jour for this game, and we'll talk about Jackson and Brady coming up in the next upcoming segment. But Ray, the one I'm playing is combined passing yards, Brady and Jackson.
Okay.
I'm going under 500.5. Lamar Jackson hasn't been, getting to 200 has kind of been of a battle.
Right.
Tom Brady getting to 300 has kind of been a battle. So in effect, you've got to get Brady to, let's say, 280. You got to get Jackson to 220. Doable, absolutely. It's minus 125. I don't see the numbers really turning tonight. I could see both offenses looking better, but I don't think it's going to be because Lamar Jackson throws for 250 yards. And Brady may get his. But this offense has been really MIA for 3 weeks now when you talk about the Bucs. And maybe it's all the guys moving in and out, maybe distractions off the field. All I know is they haven't done a thing against teams like Pittsburgh and Carolina. Maybe they can do a thing tonight. They're back home. That can change things. Thursday night football, all that. But both these offenses are really scuffling. They're really fighting it right now. So I'll take the under on Brady and Jackson combining for 505 yards. Again, minus 125 there. As for dessert, I did not know this, But by the end of the show, we will inform you that the UK royal family has quite the alarm clock. Something special there. And no, they didn't get a new iPhone 14 with a cool ring bell. Not that. Not that. They got a very different alarm clock, which I guess has been tradition for decades, but I did not know this. I didn't know how you would wake up the king or queen. Now I know. And I think you're going to want to know before we get out of here today. Drink special today, Ray. You told me earlier you got a good beer. You got something good for us today. What are you drinking this afternoon?
I got a really good one here. And I would warn you, if you have children watching, don't let them watch this segment.
Oh, is this the NFSW?
Yes.
Or what?
Yes.
Whatever NSFW.
Whatever the hell that is.
NSFW can.
This is not only, alcohol's for adults anyway, right? So, okay. But this is, this is one that, Kyle, you're going to like an awful lot. Okay. Now, it's a Dunlow Brewing Company beer, peach and grapefruit. And you hear that and you think, oh, it was very light. It was more citrusy. Like, I didn't really get a lot of the grapefruit. So it was a citrusy kind of beer. This has a black and white, button on the side of it here. This is hilarious. Okay, by the way.
It lights up?
Well, no, I should have just said sticker. I didn't know how to say it. I got so excited about what I'm looking at. It's got a woman.
Whoa.
It's got a woman gesturing to a man in a way that suggests she's not exactly happy with something that the gentleman has said. This is a California hello with a very angry woman with a finger extended at a gent. You can see it there.
Is that how the women say hello in California?
That's the California hello. And in case you were unclear how to do this, with your palm forward, extend your index and middle fingers, rotate your hand 180 degrees, flex your index finger, and don't forget to smile. And in case that's not enough, don't forget to smile, Kyle. And in case that's not enough, there are also directions so you can go step by step on how to do this. So this is a California hello.
I love it.
Okay.
This is classic,
with
Ray.
full-on directions on how to flip the bird if someone says or does something to you that you don't approve of while you're drinking this beer.
I gotta admit, Ray, you haven't done this in years, but I'm kind of inspired by you. You are continually bringing your A game with these drinks. This is good stuff. You got me a bit jealous. I might head to the local Friar Tuck this weekend and start looking for the wildest cans I can find. But I don't know if I can come close to you. You just keep bringing it every day.
Yeah, thank you. And I thought particularly, I've had this one and been debating, is it too much? But I thought, what the hell? But yeah, thank you. We go to the local liquor mart and, we go down the aisle and we try to find we made the mistake at the start. You can get some of these beers are like $7 and it's like, let's not do that. So, cause we don't know if they're any good. So we try to stay in like the $3 range. But they have a bunch of one-offs in the aisle and you just go down and grab the ones that look good. And this one looked good with the California hello.
I'm going to tell my wife on Saturday morning, Ray, that we need to hit the liquor store. And I'm going to tell her it's because Ray's embarrassing me on air. He's got all these cool beers and I'm stuck with like a Budweiser.
Yeah, right.
Really, that's all I got.
Wainwright and Molina Budweiser.
Yeah. So I'm going to do this, Ray. I'm coming next week.
All right.
And for instance, let's compare the boredom. Ray has a can that is for informing you how to flick people off. The California hello, as they say. The only thing I'm doing, Ray, I always like to tie it into Thursday night football on a Thursday. I don't know if you saw this. But Tom Brady, he's an Adonis and everything he does is correct.
For sure.
We're all supposed to live our life like Tom Brady would live his life. What I've got, Ray, is 37 cups of water because Tom Brady claims that's the number of cups of water he drinks in a day. Now, using 8 ounces as a cup, Ray, that is 296 ounces of water. Now, we've all been there, Ray. Every doctor, drink your water, like we read these reports, water. How much water do you think you drink in a day? To me, drinking 300 ounces a day, I would never eat. I'd be full the entire day. I think that's the key is you drink so much water, you can't possibly want a cheeseburger at any point during the day.
Well, that's like what Joey Chestnut and the competitive eaters do, right? They drink all that water to expand their stomach, to your point. I've drank a ton of fluid when I've been fortunate enough to have colonoscopies. Those are fun. I still don't think it's 300 ounces. 300. I can't say it. There has to have been a day in my
Every
life.
day.
Right?
Every day.
There have to be. I drink a lot of water. I do. There's no way I'm drinking 300 ounces. So yeah, that's a lot, Kyle.
I think the current recommendation is about 125 ounces.
Right. So he's double and then some.
Now, if we get to count the water that I bathe in, Ray, that I put on the outside of my skin, I might get to 300 ounces someday.
What if you count the water that's in the whiskey?
I don't know if it depends if Brady were counting it.
Okay.
I guess at the Super Bowl party, Brady was throwing.
That was like the only time he probably never drinks at all, right?
Yeah, he's a goody two shoe. Everybody thinks he's cool. Go hang out with Tom Brady. It's a real snooze.
Yeah, right.
You sit there and he, tells you about some workout regimen.
Go sign up for the TB12 lounge.
Yeah. Can you imagine, Tom Brady is going to be doing the blind dates and everything now? And I know how it works, Ray. Tom Brady's going to land like some smoking, 28-year-old.
Yeah, of course.
He's going to get, but we all know how boring that's got to be. Do you think he'd be a fun guy to go on like a date with, Ray? Or do you think he'd just be like, because it's like, oh, and then back in 2017, when I led my team to the Super Bowl, there was this. Oh, and then 2019, I won another Super Bowl ring. In 2012, oh, let me tell you about that Super Bowl ring. It's like, can this guy just shut up? Like, do I really need to hear about your whole life story, Tom? Like, I don't think he could come down a level to where it could like be a normal conversation.
Really? Well, I mean, I will say this. We've talked about this at the fantasyguru.com. Jeff Mans in particular, like. You look at Tom Brady, and no one liked Tom Brady 5 years ago. You respect him. You didn't like him. Last couple of years, he does commercials now. He does interviews now. He's smiling now. Now, I know the image has been tarnished by the whole family situation thing. I get it.
But it's just that. It's just that. It's an image. I don't know what Tom Brady's like.
Right.
I see a Subway commercial. Is that what he's like? I don't know.
Well, the
guy is cooking bread. Think about this, Ray.
Yeah.
The guy is cooking bread. He doesn't even eat bread. Like, to me, that's kind of, that tells me the person Tom Brady is. You pay me enough, and I'll tell other people they need to be eating bread from Subway, but God, get that stuff away from me. I'll never touch it. See, that's kind of a negative to me on Tom Brady.
I'll say this. His sisters were very approachable. They were fine. And if I can base Tom off knowing his sisters in high school, I would say Tom's a pretty good fella.
I'm going to suggest, Ray, that Tom Brady has changed a bit since he was like a teenager.
That's probably fair.
Yeah, this is Tom Brady. This is Tom Brady. Trademarked. Tom Brady, Ray. Totally different.
312.
This is not Tom Brady, San Mateo. This is Tom Brady, worldwide superstar. Globally known athlete. That's what we were talking about here with Tom Brady.
That would be hard to have that life, though, too, wouldn't it? I mean, as much as we make fun of it, like, can you leave your house? No. There's 42 guys from TMZ parked in your driveway. Like, I don't know. Good question. The dating thing is going to be a disaster for him because there's no way he can sneak out and date anyone without it being immediately in the news 3 hours later, right?
Yeah.
Or 30 seconds later.
You think he'll create a profile on one of the apps?
Yeah, and then no one will believe it's real. Yeah.
I'm sure it's already been created out there. Come over to my house and we'll talk about Super Bowl rings. See, this one has 147 diamonds.
I love how you think that's all he talks about is Super Bowl trophies.
That's all I talk about.
You're really pretty tonight. Look at my Super Bowl trophy.
Little known fact, nobody has more Super Bowl rings than me.
Yeah.
Let's go look at them, shall we?
Your bracelet looks beautiful, but it only looks like it has 12 diamonds, whereas my ring has 47. Yeah, I don't know.
Those Tom Brady dates, Ray, could get really creepy really fast. This guy I met the other night, all he talks about is his rings.
Yeah.
It's really, we've all dated those skull ring guys. This guy has like rings the size of mailboxes. You should see these things.
I think he was wearing brass knuckles last night when I showed up.
Yeah. Like there's 3 pillow settings on his bed. One for me, one for him, and one for all his Super Bowl rings. And he lines them up between us.
There's a purple little pillow right in the middle with velvet that had these rings.
Yeah, and then there's another spot for Robert Kraft in case he shows up and needs a place to bunk for the night. I don't know. The Tom Brady dating show. That would be one, Ray, I'd sign up for. And I'd want like that dating show, Ray, would be epically, and they got to be normal girls. I don't want like people looking for followers on Instagram or
Right.
influencers. I want like Tom Brady goes to New Hampshire to find love.
To a small town in New Hampshire, wearing his flannel.
I would watch it. I would watch it. Instead, Tom Brady is going to go to a Fox football studio and like hang out with Howie Long.
Well, it moved. It make $300 million, right? Yeah.
The dating life of Tom Brady. It's coming. It's coming. Coming up tonight, Bucks and Ravens. When we return on Lunch Money, we will take a preview, dig into it. Before any of that, though, let's send it over to Duke for the first time today. He is standing by with the Den. Duke, take it away.
Good afternoon, bettors. It's your boy, Duke. Happy Thursday to you, October 26th. I'm presented to you, as always, by FantasyGuru.com. Welcome back to Duke's Den. And we did it. We won a bet. Let's go, baby. Champions League action yesterday. Rangers get shut out under 1.5. Bang. Sporting Tottenham, not without controversy, but that ends 1-1, comfortably under our 4 total. Bang. And how about Ajax Liverpool finishing 3-0 to Liverpool over 2? Bang. So there we go. We cash our parlay. We're back in our winning ways. A guaranteed winner comes through. And look, you may think this is an act. You might think this is some kind of shtick. When I guarantee something, it works. It works like 65% of the time. Not all the time, but like most of the time it works. I don't throw out guarantees for nothing, baby. But you want some more winners? It is Thursday. Of course, every Thursday and Monday, I give you my side and total for NFL action. Hour 2, I'm going to preview the NFL game tonight and give you a side and total. But tonight, we have college football, baby. College football on Thursday nights. We have 3 active bets. And I know not everyone listens every single day or can listen for all 3 hours of this beautiful Lunch Money show, but we have Utah money line, Ohio State money line, and Tennessee money line. We're parlaying those 3 favorites. That is minus 113 on most sports books I checked this morning. And by the way, did you see these uniforms Tennessee is rolling out? The midnight Halloween black and orange. Sick. Tennessee by 1 million. We also have Utah minus 7 tonight against Washington State. That number has not moved from yesterday. Cam Rising in that offense, I think, absolutely has a field day against this Washington State defense that can't stop anybody. Love Utah. So we have Utah twice now. Come on, Utah. Let's go, Utes. Then we have NC State, minus 13.5. Both of these straight bets are minus 110 on all sports books. I'm backing the Wolfpack here. I'm banking on this week off that the Wolfpack had to get their new quarterback Chambers up to speed. He now has 5 quarters of action under center, but he's a grad transfer. It's a new playbook. Hopefully this week off, they've adjusted with the coaching staff to fit his weapons because we do know the dude can run. I told you earlier in the week, I'm waiting for this prop to drop. As soon as his rushing total comes out, I'm going over. I think I even said I have him projected for about 50 to 52 yards. Well, the prop is out. It's 51.5. I don't know if they watch the show. I don't know if I'm just completely on market. I can't have a strong opinion one way or the other. That's too close to where I was going to be. So, unfortunately, we can't hit that. But we do have those 3 bets active tonight for NCAA football. Next hour, side and total for the NFL, presented by Jeff Bezos. All our actions over on FantasyGuru.com. If you haven't signed up yet, use code BETTOR, BETTOR, for 20% off. I'm Duke. Next hour, NFL.
It's always lunchtime here. Now back to Kyle Elfrink and Ray Flowers.
Welcome in. It's Lunch Money on a Thursday. You know, we were picking on Ben Simmons and all the money he's going to make. We also want to remember the other side. Ray, there's nothing we enjoy more than picking on people who have a lot of money, except for picking on people who have lost a lot of money, a lot of money. So today I did want to get this out before I forget, but condolences to Mark Zuckerberg. Because I don't know if you noticed this, Ray, and that's not Facebook anymore, people. It's Meta. Meta is what he called it. But in about a year, Ray, he's lost like $90 billion of his worth. They got hammered yesterday in the market, but he's lost about maybe even $100 billion. of his worth. Now he's still rich. I think he's still like top 5 in the world. But Ray, my God, he's going to be slumming around your neighborhood pretty soon, looking for a place to rest his head.
He's got a beautiful campus that they just built right near my house. They came there, obviously south, and they came north here out at Coyote Point. Beautiful along the water, the whole thing. I was actually talking to my financial advisors yesterday in the market and trying to figure this out. I think everyone's obviously struggling now with the way the economy is around the world and the concerns about Russia and everything. But when you have that much money, like, and we see this with sometimes, we saw this with Bill Gates. Like at some point, right? Like just start giving it away, start doing things. You know what I mean? It's like, because like you're saying, to your point, I mean, I don't know what you do with the $90 billion. I mean, do you just buy a state?
Well,
like what
Ray,
do you
I'll
do?
tell you what you do with 90.
Okay.
You build like some fanciful virtual world where like you don't ever have to see a person anymore. You like can sit in your bathtub again, Ray, stand in your bathtub and just throw on the VR device and you never have to leave your house again.
Well, see, like the thing I've always thought, who cares my investment advice, but I've always thought buy property, right? Because the property price goes up and down. Who cares? You own the property. It's $90 billion he lost. Well, let's say he sold that stock a week ago, whatever. What does he buy for $90 billion? Where does he reinvest the money? Like I'm saying, he literally would go out and buy the entire town or 3 towns or the state. Like, what does he buy? Like, where do you put the money? So I don't know. I wonder, don't you wonder like how much is its impact? Because it's, it's $90 billion. I mean, come on, you could do a lot of things with $90 billion.
You'd think at this point he'd be able to still buy a collared shirt, but that's not happening either. Yeah. I mean, this is like Ray. This right here, they call this the Zuckerberg. What I'm wearing,
kind of looks like the Andy Reid, but
stupid hoodie, a t-shirt, and a dumb hat. That's the Zuckerberg. But anyway, I know he's feeling it today, so we wanted to let him know that we are thinking about you, Zuck, and we hope things turn around for you. Okay, just get rid of the stupid headset. Okay, nobody's ready for that. No one is. Just dump it. Okay, so throw it away. Let's get to tonight's game, Ray. As Duke so capably put it, brought to you by Jeff Bezos. We've got Thursday night football, which on the surface looks good. I don't have to make big mama jokes this week.
No, you don't.
Yeah, no big mama jokes this week on Lunch Money. We've got Baltimore visiting Tampa. Looking at this line, it's 1 point. Tampa's favored by a point. The over-under is 45.5. There is some injury news here. First off, there were some questions about Mike Evans. He's good to go. Baltimore's a little different, Ray. Mm-hmm. Andrews, Edwards, Bateman, 3 very important pieces of this offense. All of them are questionable. Now, I look at all of them, and you'd have to think Andrews is fine. I feel the Edwards is more precautionary. Bateman, who knows? I mean, this has been a very long injury, so maybe he's just not ready. The best one I feel good about, though, is Andrews. The other 2, a little bit of a question mark, I guess.
Yeah, and there's obviously a lot of questions about this, especially, I think, the Edwards one. Bateman is what he is. Whether he plays or not depends completely upon what your receiving core looks like. He's going to get 5 targets top end. It's likely to be 3 or 4. He's likely to catch 2 or 3 passes. If one of them's a touchdown, cool. If not, it's 6 points. It's just so he's someone that you're really kind of only playing if you have no choice, I think. Andrews, there's been a couple of questions with him. It's like, look, if you've got Mark Andrews and you're going to go to the waiver wire and pick up K-Dot, and more power to you. Like, the only way Andrews doesn't play in your fantasy squad is if he's not on the field. Mm-hmm. If he's out there on the field and it doesn't happen tonight, it doesn't happen tonight. But
and the pivot is likely. Like, that's a really quick, fast pivot that I think is the new Andrews. Just make that, Ray, because I think that could actually be a total hit. It
could be a total hit because Lamar Jackson only throws to the tight end. So absolutely, it could totally be a hit. I will say that Mark Andrews, the last time, a couple weeks ago, right, he caught 2 balls for 15 yards. Next time out, he had 10 targets. Like, they rebounded really quickly there and said, what the hell happened last week? So I think that, Andrews is good to go. The Edwards one is interesting because Edwards, we talked about this earlier in the week. Edwards, Drake, and Hill were separated by 6 total snaps last week. It was like 23, 20, and 17. They all were basically on the field the same amount. Okay. They all are now playing 4 days later on a Thursday. We have Edwards coming back from an injury. He played his first game last week, right? So, what's the workload? So Edwards, to me, it depends, again, what direction you're going. I think we have him like at 26, 27 in the rankings at fantasyguru.com. So I'm not saying he's not a good start, but if you've got other weapons, you might consider holding off because he's not likely to get 2 touchdowns again. And the workload, the 16 carries he got last week, may not replicate itself this week, even if he's active.
It's always wild to me. I cover a lot of like English Premier League soccer. And in fact, I'll be doing a show as soon as this one is over talking fantasy soccer. But Ray, one of the things in that sport that they always talk about is they'll bring a guy off an injury. And it's not like a year like Gus Edwards, but a guy comes off injury and they're like, we have to get him fit. He's not ready for back-to-back games. He's not ready for 90 minutes. We'll bring him in for 15 minutes and we'll bring him in for 40 minutes. And, finally, like 2 weeks later, he's fit. He's able to play. In football, what Edwards is trying to do is difficult, Ray. He's been out a long time, and it's like, okay, great game the other day. Now do it again 3.5 days later.
Yeah.
That's really tough, and you have to think there's just general soreness.
For sure.
I'm not telling people to bench Edwards because that's not even an argument worth having. People aren't going to do that after he had 2 touchdowns. They're just not interested. But my expectations are fairly pulled back with the way this offense has always run. Kind of Patriots light with kind of keeping us guessing as to who the guy. I'd be surprised if Edwards is the lead dog tonight. I'm kind of pulling back on expectations with him this evening.
I think, he could be the lead guy tonight, and it still could look nowhere as good as it looked last week. I mean, again, we had 3 running backs, Drake, Hill, and Edwards. Almost all were on the field the exact same amount last week. Is that their plan? Was that the first game back from Edwards, or was this the coaching staff prepping for Thursday? So we're going to get all 3 guys on the field the exact same amount this week too. Like, these are all potential outcomes here. And, in the case of Edwards, there's not many times where he's been carrying the ball 15 plus times in back-to-back games in his career. Certainly coming back from an injury and then 3.5 days, as we're talking about. And, he's not a guy that contributes in the passing game. That's not a role he's going to fill. So does he go from the lead at 23 snaps to the third at 17 snaps tonight? And that means instead of getting 16 carries, he gets 13. So he really is kind of touchdown or bust, in my opinion, tonight. Because I don't see the passing game involvement. I don't see the workload going up. It's likely to go down from last week. So, yeah, he's a passable play. And there's certainly people out there that are going to be using him, and it's okay. But is he someone I'm trying to, bench someone else to get him in my lineup? Not really.
Yeah, you're asking a lot for him on this turnaround in this matchup against Tampa. Now, the Bucks D, it has not given up points. They've been, kind of that bend but don't break kind of defense. They have given up more yardage than they're used to. They had been so strong against the run in the last couple of seasons, not so much this year. So you can do some damage on the ground. The entire focus tonight, Ray, I'm sure is going to be Brady Jackson. Like I would love if there were a manner in which you could time the amount of minutes spent on just talking about the quarterbacks within the game. I bet it would be 3/4 of the game. Like literally, I'm counting on Michaels and Herbstreit to give us 3/4 of the game just talking Jackson Brady. Just on and on and on about those guys. It's something we're going to talk about now. I was surprised, Ray, when I looked at the overall fantasy football rankings for quarterbacks today, from week 1 to now. And I just did a total points rankings. I think it was a 6 point per touchdown league for passing and running. I was surprised, Ray, that both are QB1s. In fact, Lamar Jackson is top 5 still. Brady's 11th. Ray, lately it's been different. Lamar Jackson's been bad the last month. He's 18th at the QB position. Brady, though, is actually 5th. So we come into this, and I feel it's kind of negative swirls around these two guys that, Brady's a little bit washed up, and Lamar Jackson is back to being the bad Lamar. Overall this year, they've been fine. There are numbers that are down. There are things that are not as good as they usually are. But really, if you have Lamar Jackson and Tom Brady thus far this season, you can't complain too much. Jackson's number 4, and Brady's a QB1 right now.
I think I've received 4 or 5 questions the last 24 hours about benching Tom Brady. And, it's for Daniel Jones. It's for Geno Smith. It's not for, Patrick Mahomes, who's not playing anyway, but get my point. It's for these guys that, if you had ever suggested that 4 months ago, people would have, spit in your face and laughed at you, rolled you down a hill. It was ugly last week. Now, let's just, psychology, 101 or whatever. Tom Brady, who we were picking fun of earlier, whether he's an egomaniac or not, he believes in himself very strongly. And he
drinks a lot of water. A lot
of water.
That's a given.
He went in there, and don't you think he looked every coach in the eye and looked every receiver in the eye and looked every lineman in the eye and he said, "You're going to be better this week. You're going to be better this week. He did it to everyone. He did it." And
that's how he parents too.
Right.
Looks all of his kids. You're going to be better this week. Take it easy, Dad.
You see these rings? You need to get So. And all they've heard is their season's on the line. The coaches are going to get fired. The players suck. That was, again, that's going to go down as the worst beating in the NFL this season. What happened last week? They got thrashed by the Panthers. So they're going to come out on absolute fire. And if they don't, everyone does get fired next week. So they're going to come out on absolute fire. Tom Brady throws the ball 40 times every game. Even last week, when he threw it 49 times last week, they didn't do anything. He threw it 49 times. So they don't run the ball. Leonard Fournette looks like he's running with cement shoes. He can't get to the corner anymore. I don't think he's averaging like 39 rushing yards the last month and a half. He's not doing it. They're going to throw the ball 45 times. So he will be effective in the fantasy game merely because of volume. This is the exact opposite of the Mariotas and the Daniel Jones and these Fields, these guys that have to do so much with their legs and everything because they're throwing it 25 times. The volume is there for Brady to be a quarterback one this week, as pretty much every week.
Yeah, man, if it's another rough effort tonight for the Bucs offense, Ray, it's like hide the women and surface pads, because it's the surface pads are just going to be destroyed on that sideline.
Yes,
it'll look like a DeLorean dump where they threw all the DeLoreans, all the technological. That's what it's going to look like on that Bucs sideline. Watch out for those surfaces tonight. Now, the numbers, this is pretty crazy. Brady has only 8 touchdown passes in 7 games. He is throwing 35 fewer passing yards per game. His pass attempts per game rate are the exact same number as last year, 42.3. I mean, exact. It was 42.3 last year. It's 42.3 thus far this season. I feel that the inability to practice with these receivers, these guys missing time off the field, I think it's really thrown a wrench. The injury to Cam Brate, like all these moving parts, guys in, guys out. You're trying to get Russell Gage up to speed. Oh, Julio Jones, is he playing this week? Is he not? I'm using that as kind of the excuse here. Now, I don't know if that excuses back-to-back dead efforts against the Steelers and Panthers. But, Ray, I think that would be something where if they came out and said, dude, I don't know every week who's out there, and we can't go through reps. I'm trying to get people up to speed. That's got to be a challenge right now for the Bucs, and I would sign off on that being an issue. I guess there's a chance of Julio Jones tonight. What last I saw, game time decision for Julio Jones. I will say this for anybody holding on to him, who cares? Am I right there, Ray? I wouldn't be playing Julio Jones tonight, would you?
You can't play Julio Jones tonight. Another thing to remember too, by the way, is the offensive line's all kinds of beat up too. Like that. Yeah. That's another issue that they've dealt with consistently. Yeah, Julio Jones. No, if he's active, it helps the offense. Doesn't help a fantasy squad tonight.
Check out these Jackson numbers, Ray. And again, remember, we're talking about top 5 fantasy quarterback. Mm-hmm. But he's mostly down everywhere.
Yep.
He really is. Mm-hmm. His completion percentage is down 3 points this year from last season. Yards passing per game over 40. He's losing a game. So you've already, through 7 games, you've lost like a good game and a half of passing yardage from Lamar Jackson. Just through 7 games. He does have 13 touchdown throws, which will surprise people. Last year, he only had 16. He's already to 13 this year. He's averaging a career best 7.7 yards per rush. Sounds awesome. Here's the problem. He is running the football 1.5 times fewer. And Ray, I was shocked by this one. Lamar Jackson, the last 19 games. This goes to the start of last season. Mm-hmm. 4 rushing touchdowns. Mm-hmm. That's it. 4. And that number is always one you can't truly count on. Like, oh, that quarterback's going to get me 7 every year, 8 every year. I know Josh Allen owners are telling you, yeah, you can. You can count on that every year, 8, but you can't. And Jalen Hurts, oh yeah, I can get a touchdown. Okay, maybe he will this year. But Lamar Jackson, Ray, is proof positive. This guy is electrifying. He's still good. He still runs the football a pretty good amount. 4 touchdowns in 19 games. I was stunned by that mark for Jackson.
Yeah, and I think part of the the value of Jackson is obviously his legs. Part of the value in Jackson is that he does so much with those legs, even if he's not getting into the end zone, that he's able to produce fantasy points at a rate that few can match. Passing is down. Offense is down. We've all been talking about it. Offense is down across the land. It's down a little bit with Lamar Jackson, but relative to everyone else, he's just fine. The lack of touchdowns, he's not, Josh Allen is, bigger, right? He's more likely to push a pile. So there's a little bit of that. And I also think too, when you get in tight, not that Josh Allen is Mr. I'm going to stick a ball in necessarily at the goal line, but do teams fear Lamar Jackson at the goal line? I don't think they really do. It's a lot of trickery.
Yeah, they do.
As a passer?
Oh, no. Okay,
no,
I thought you meant it. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. As a passer, no, they don't. So they're able to tailor their defense in a way that they don't necessarily have a spy out there, but they're much more cognizant of him running because they don't think he's sticking a ball in there in the corner of the end zone to anybody. They don't think so. It makes it more difficult for him unless he's ripping off a 30-yard touchdown run to be a guy that sneaks it in from the 5-yard line unless the play just completely breaks down. So, there's a lot of things going on here. At the end of the day, you play him. I've had multiple. Do I start Lamar Jackson questions? Like, folks, you just play him. I mean, it's just this is the experience. It's up and down. It's messy. It's dirty. But you're saved by the fact that we overemphasize success on the ground for quarterbacks versus what they do through the air.
8:15 kickoff tonight. Again, that over-under is 45.5. So that's the biggest game total we've seen on Thursday Night Football, probably since way back in week 1. Props, player to watch, player to fade, watchability. Let's hit it here, Ray. Favorite prop for this game tonight between the Bucs and the Ravens?
We were just talking about it. Tom Brady over 282.5 yards, minus 150 week. And as we discussed, Tom Brady throws the ball a ton.
Taking the over, huh?
Taking the over. 285, 282.5 over.
Okay. The over I like, and I was kind of surprised by this, and this is plus money. Tampa Bay over 10.5 second half points. Huh? and I think that it seemed like, give me that number. And I get it when you break down everything and the over under is 45.5. 10.5 is kind of what you maybe should expect. I don't know, but it seems so low. Plus 110. Give me that. I'll take those second half points. I felt easy. I felt I misread that. I really did. I mean, 10.5 points for this offense. So sign me up. Plus 110. My player to watch is Fournette. I think we're due a big Fournette game. I think it's coming tonight. I think this is the Leonard Fournette experience. He kind of goes quiet, and then later tonight we'll hear the nickname Playoff Lenny like 4 times because he'll have 2 touchdowns and 110 yards. So he's my guy to watch. I'm fading Gus Edwards, so that's just kind of a build upon what we were talking about earlier. Who's your watch and who's your fade, Ray?
Hilarious. My guys are absolutely directly the same and reversed. We talked about Edwards. I'm watching because I want to see how it plays out. I'm not watching him in the sense that he's 18th running back this week and you got to start him. We talked about this. If you missed it, just to be clear on that, I want to watch though and see how he's utilized. I don't think the true story emerges because again, it's Thursday Night Football, but I want to see how heavily involved he is. And let's not forget, the Bucs allow the fewest points to the running back position of any team in the league right now. So, despite the rushing success against them last week by the Panthers, overall they've been good against the run. My player to fade is Leonard Fournette. If you're in a non-PPR, like, I don't even know if you start this guy. I'm being just because and it depends, right? He has no burst. He can still run into someone and push. He does that, but he has no burst. He can't get to the corner. And he has averaged 14 carries for 39 yards in 6 games. He's averaged 39 rushing yards in 6 games. The only thing keeping him afloat is the pass catching, which has been fantastic because they throw the ball 43 times a game. He's caught 5 passes in 4 or 5 games. So he is doing nothing on the ground. He's doing everything through the air. He's basically a slightly better version of Najee Harris, which I know the numbers don't say that, but that's how it's been trending of late. So I'm fading him tonight.
Well, Baltimore's had some issues stopping the run. I think they've given up 8 rushing touchdowns this year. You're right. The totals for Tampa are kind of dramatically off as a rushing attack, and that speaks to that offensive line. But I will go with Fournette as the guy. Watchability, I'll give it a 3.5. guess you could say the power of quarterbacks, Ray. Where do you land on watchability?
The power of the quarterback. Well, Kyle, you fell right into that. I'm going 3.
3. Okay. Pretty good. Better than usual.
Better than normal. Yeah, that's true.
A couple of questions in the chat room. One, Gus Edwards or George Pickens? Again, Philadelphia hosting Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Still don't have a great read on who the quarterback is. I would suggest it's Pickett. Probably going for the Steelers. But what do you do there, Ray? Edwards or Pickens?
Yeah, I think that I'd go Pickens here. I'm assuming it's Pickett. If it's not, it's Trubisky. Okay, but I'm assuming it's going to be Pickett. I think that, as a baseline, we're basically seeing 6 catches for 60 yards for Pickens. That's kind of where he's fallen into, right? I think the baseline for Edwards is maybe 60 rushing yards. So it really comes down to the touchdown. And if you're in a PPR setup, we're getting the 6 extra points for Pickens. I'd go Pickett. Or Pickens.
Another question we have, and this is a pretty tiny league because if these 3 guys are available, these 3 guys aren't available in even a 10-team league. But who would you rather have, Rachaad White, Brian Robinson, or Darrell Henderson?
Yes.
I
how do you answer this question?
What'd you say?
How do you answer this question? It's yes.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, Robinson and Henderson have to be ahead of White right now. You're talking about a pure handcuff.
Right.
Are 2 guys who are getting the football right now.
Yeah. Now,
and really, I mean, we can extol the virtues of a handcuff, but Ray, you shouldn't be dropping guys who are getting 10 to 12 touches a week to hold on to a handcuff.
Yeah.
I want the guys who are playing right now.
Well, Philly Mac, do you have Fournette? I see he's responding right now. So let us know if you have Fournette. That would change the computation with White. Okay, you don't have, then you don't take White. I mean, White being on the waiver wire, Rachaad White being on the waiver wire right now is a mistake. Straight up. He's got to be on a roster. Even if you're not the Fournette owner, he needs to be added. I just talked about Fournette and the struggles. Kyle and I have talked about Fournette for years. Injuries are often there with him. White is trending. He's played over 38% of the snaps 3 of the last 4 games. So he's trending to a role where he's almost just got a weekly role because he's catching so many passes too. He's catching 3 or 4 passes. And if Fournette goes down, White zooms past these other 2 guys in terms of weekly outlook. So he has to be on a roster. Would I be dropping guys that are, starters for their teams right now to do that? No. Robinson hasn't looked great, but he's the lead back for the Commanders. Henderson, he's dealing with a little bit of an illness this week. We have concerns about Kyron Williams coming back. There's lots of rumors about a trade potentially happening with the Rams. I don't know if they have any draft picks left to trade. But that's in the hopper. But for now, White would be the one that would have to stay on waivers, though he should not be on waivers in any league.
Well, and I'll say this, I'm getting my 2 worst running backs are Brian Robinson and Darrell Henderson. Well, God, I'd love to have that problem.
Yeah, that must be tough.
Even if White moves into this role, again, this team has sucked running the football this year. The Buccaneers are having 0 success. So, yeah, White would get all the work, but is success to follow? Right now, you'd say no. They can't run block. They don't know how to do it. They're having a miserable time of it in Tampa. So all this kind of goes into the hopper. Now we have Madison or White. Well, if you've got Cook, you go Madison. If you've got Fournette, you go White. If you don't have either, I'd probably rather have Madison, Ray, just because I know Minnesota can run block a bit more, and I've seen Alexander Madison do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen him handle that.
That's
a true coin flip, though. I mean, we're talking about 2 handcuffs. Go with the guy you'd prefer.
And let me stop the questions before we get 50 of these, because this goes to the same thing I've been saying forever. Handcuff your running backs. You're asking a question where Kyle and I we have to predict the future for this to work. It has nothing to do with the offense. It has nothing to do with the skill of the player. It has to do with predicting which running back one gets hurt.
Yeah.
No one knows the answer to that.
Dalvin Cook's already been hurt. I'll say that. So maybe go with Madison.
His shoulder's been an issue 5 times. If Madison's on the waiver, I'd add Madison too. That'd be my play. But again, if Fournette goes down this week, White's touching the ball 13 times on the ground. He's catching 5 passes a game. Both guys would have very similar. Madison would probably be in a very similar scenario with the Vikings if we were to have Cook go down. So again, I agree with you. I'd go Madison, but they both should be rostered. Yeah. And all we're doing is
handcuffs. Understand, if you already have your handcuffs, unfortunately, I know people hate to hear this, but not every guy on the waiver wire works for you then. You can't have every player. They don't all make sense for you. I understand, hey, if I could just have this guy. That's real life stuff, people. Everybody in baseball, everybody in football would love to have all the players they could have and get everybody and say, look how smart I am. It's not how it works. If you've already got your handcuffs, those guys are more important to you. Alexander Madison's not. Now, you can say, well, screw it. I want Madison. Go for it then. Ray may get mad at you. I'm not going to get mad at you, but go for it. It's really this game of understanding injuries and who's the next guy up. You're guessing. There is no math equation here. There is no A plus B equals C. We're all guessing, okay? So understand that's the game you're playing with the running backs, which again, if you love zero RB, that's the game you're playing. You want to guess all year. That's fine. If that's your strategy, go and guess all year. Other people don't. They want to say, you know what? I want to avoid as much guessing as possible. I'm going to take studs in the first round. Other people say, I want to guess all year because all those guys I take in the first round could get hurt. They could get hurt. Okay, fine. You are signing up to guess each and every week, to guess all season when trades happen, when injuries happen. You're spending hours on the waiver wire because you're guessing every week. I never hear that discussed, Ray, when we hear this drafting of running back stuff. It's all like, this is how I'm going to draft. Cool, that's awesome. But how are you going to run it in season? Nobody understands there's a lot of work now that you got to do in season. If you're cool with it, go for it. Live your dream of spending hours with your waiver wire instead of your girlfriend. If that's your dream, go zero RB.
Oh,
just do it.
It's not just that. We have a running back grid that gets updated every week over at fantasyguru.com, and it's the players are listed, they're color coded. So we hit this topic every week for those people that really want to dig into this. To Kyle's point, and it doesn't even have to be you did zero running back. You know, it's people make trades, they go to the waiver wire. Like, I'm constantly stunned by the moves people are able to make. Like, I don't, you know, there are so many people that don't listen to us at BSN, that don't follow our work over at fantasyguru.com, that have no idea what they're doing. No idea. Because there's so many people. We get all these questions about who do I add off the waiver wire? And it's like, how are these guys on the waiver wire? Well, my dumbass league mate dropped them. Okay. Mm-hmm. The idea of trying to, and this is why I don't subscribe to zero running back. This is why I subscribe to handcuffing your running backs. Get the right systems. Get the players in the right systems. You're done. You're set. You don't worry about it. Because all we're doing here is trying to be Nostradamus and predict injuries. Because that's Madison is not a standalone play. White's not a standalone play. These guys are not standalone plays. They're not. So all we're trying to do is guess who's likely to go down with an injury. And the problem you run into when you play this game is that this week you add Madison, next week you add White. The week after that, it's I don't know, Pacheco. The week after that, it's DJ Dallas. You're just cycling through, right? And there's no rhyme or reason to it. So, you know, we have rankings every week at fantasyguru.com. We've got the RB depth chart every week updated at fantasyguru.com. You're welcome to ask questions. But I said this earlier, I think this week, I am so frustrated by this question because I get it. I see it 40 times a day, every single day. And it's an unanswerable question. And that frustrates me because I can't give the people the help they deserve because they're asking questions that I can't quantify the answer to.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no analysis with that question. And I think, you know, we all want to say there's a number for this, a number for that. This proves that. This proves what's going to happen on. And I get it. They are there. But folks, you are playing a game where you're at the whims of the coach, you're at the whims of the situation, you're at the whims of down and distance. I mean, there are a million things going on where honestly, it's luck. I said this a few weeks back. It's Larry. No one wants to admit it, but it's very lucky. You can set yourself up in the right position. You can have, you know, what somebody say, that's a perfect draft. It may blow up in your face and you go 2-14. I mean, that is that you can do everything correctly. But you're at the whims of injuries. You're at the whims of 32 NFL teams calling plays and building game plans where you are not privy to those game plans. You just aren't. You're not a part of that. We don't know who's going in there and who's going out there on 3rd and 3 from the 7 in the 4th quarter. We like to think we know, but we don't. And one week it's one answer, and the very next week it's another answer. That's how this game works. So once you understand that, a lot of the headaches just kind of slide away because you say, you know what, if it doesn't work this week, it'll work next week. And I feel that if I keep using the same strategy, it's going to work. So a lot of this is some trial, some error, but it's also experience and knowing how this world works. Ray's got a lot of experience. We can help you cut to the chase. I've got a lot of experience, but there are still some things that experience cannot predict, including those injuries and who jumps up.
One final thing to say, and Philly Mac notices, people are idiots. They're dropping guys and adding backup tight ends and defenses. And I know that's a thing. I had a back and forth with someone this morning who wanted to add a defense for next week. I'm like, what? No, keep the players. Don't worry about a defense in the following week. And so a lot of times, and I know everyone here listening, watching, following over at fantasyguru.com, if I get frustrated, I'm not frustrated with you. Okay. I'm frustrated with the situation. And it's great that you're trying to take advantage of other people being stupid, other people being dumb, of other people's mistakes. The problem then we run into, though, is this: they people are making mistakes every week. So these questions keep coming up every week. And we run up into the part where we're the smartest people in the room, not Kyle and I, you, all of us, we're the smartest people in the room. And it's frustrating to us because we know we should be taking advantage of these situations, and we just can't take advantage of all of them because, the roster is with the roster. We can't be dropping starting players to add backup. So just to say, I'm not mad at you, the listener, the follower. It's just frustrating that these questions keep coming up, but it's really because the people that aren't smart enough to follow us at fantasyguru.com or here at Bettor Sports Network are making mistakes.
Well, and dropping like healthy guys during bye weeks. I'm working a lot on the waiver wire right now, Ray, but it's because of bye weeks. It's because of injuries. I mean, we're seeing Drake London, Romeo Dobbs getting dropped. It's just kind of wild to see healthy dudes getting dropped. Kind of crazy, I would say. Okay, breather for us. When we come back, we got some news and notes, some injury news. We'll see if anything's shaking from practice reports. Start to dig in a bit more to our Week 8 game previews. We're about 30 minutes away from Tyler Beaker joining us as well. His thoughts on this Ravens-Buccaneers game. So we still got a very, very busy final 90 minutes. Breather for us, back with news on Zeke. What's going on in that Dallas Cowboy backfield? We'll give you the latest after this on Lunch Money right here on the Bettor Sports Network.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network. Moose and Keith.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah till he was about 19.
Nice.
So,
your wife did a good job.
Yeah, you may want to talk to your wife. I would say about 13, he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required. And then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, but you got to go out and deliver it. So, yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
You don't need to be like right 100% of the time.
No, there was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we could probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have
what I love.
satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, it doesn't count. Sorry, couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's like, and not to mention, like that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball like right into his face, right? Like he's coming over to spot it, and it's like every other time the player's just like, here you go, here's another thing to juggle.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Is it me, Ray, or is the only publicity that Microsoft Surface has gotten out of their whole thing on the sideline is people throwing them to the ground in anger? Like, is that just a me thing? Or the only time I hear about this device, Ray, is when somebody is chucking it on the ground, just pissed off at it, which I get it. All of us are in that world. We love to do that. Only in the NFL, Ray, can they get away with it because these are free. There's no cost. It's part of the sponsorship. Here's 5,000 Microsoft tablets to get you through the NFL season, and these players just slamming them down. It's like they've become Dilbert on the sideline, and they're so frustrated. They're just like the only publicity this company and this product has gotten is negative.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Handoff, Elliott coming right, pushing, goal line, bangs in, touchdown Elliott.
It's always lunchtime here. Now back to Kyle Elfrink and Ray Flowers.
Well, it's always lunchtime. Question this weekend in Dallas. Walk the dog time. Is that the call Cowboys Radio always gives us? Zeke Elliott, Ray, big question mark, I guess, for this week. I would kind of even lean in the direction of saying Zeke Elliott's probably out for this weekend for the Cowboys. He's missing another practice today.
He is. They're still leaving open the possibility there. There was a report yesterday suggesting strongly that he wouldn't play. I think we're leaning toward him probably sitting. That's my expectation at this point. They have a bye next week, so that would give him a couple of weeks. If that is the case, Tony Pollard is probably a running back one, right? Mm-hmm. So he was starting for everyone. So hopefully we'll get firm clarity on this well in advance, and I assume we'll get it by tomorrow if we don't hear later today.
Carolina's backfield is in a bit of a flux. Obviously, no Christian McCaffrey. They may not have Chuba Hubbard. He missed another practice today with that ankle injury. Jamar Chase, DNP today. So that bears watching going into the weekend. We have received word, Ray. I don't know if it matters, but we have received word. Bill Belichick says Mac Jones is the QB in week 8. And the Saints are going with Andy Dalton in week 8. And it's not because of an injury to Jameis Winston. At least that's what Dennis Allen says. He says Dalton's the guy after how many picks last week? 3?
3 picks, 2 pick sixes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was pretty rough for Andy Dalton, but I guess it's rougher to be Jameis Winston right now.
I mean, Jameis Winston, just think about the progression of things, right? You have Drew Brees, and the previous coach thought Taysom Hill was going to take over at quarterback, fail. We had Jameis Winston, thought he was going to take over at quarterback, apparently fail. We're down to Andy Dalton now, who we just picked up because we needed to have a veteran. Like this is the Jameis Winston stuff. I mean, if you're that guy, I guess he's a good teammate and all, but you're getting passed up by every schlub in the world at this point. Like is he going to have to reset his sights, Kyle? Is he just Mr. Backup? 5,000 yards and 30 touchdown passes just isn't what it used to be, I guess, Kyle.
So if you can't cut it in an offense where your backup's Andy Dalton, it may be time to hang up the cleats. Like Andy Dalton, I mean, Ray, if not for concussions in the NFL, Andy Dalton would probably be out of football, but he always knows there's a job for him. Like he just hangs around. Somebody's going to call me. Like Andy Dalton hasn't been, I don't know, is it unfair to say Andy Dalton hasn't been good in 4 years? And yet he's beating out Jameis Winston right now in this offense. Yeah. Kind of wild to look at.
I mean, he is a perfect backup quarterback. Andy Dalton, perfect. He's got experience. He's got understanding. He can run it off. Is he a guy that should be starting every week? Not if you want to make the playoffs. No, I don't think so. And it's one thing to say Winston's got 42 broken bones, but we're hearing that it's not that. It's that he's been beat out. And that does not mean that Dalton starts every game the rest of the way. We don't see Winston again. In fact, it's almost a certainty we'll see Winston again, right? I don't think Dalton runs with the job here, but it is distressing for anyone that spent any level of draft capital on Jameis Winston this year.
And just so you know, the Saints, broken record time, Landry and Thomas still out. Those guys, it's pretty hysterical. Maybe they can get traded to the Chiefs, like Kadarius Toney. If you're just joining us, Toney was flipped from the Giants to the Chiefs as the Chiefs go into their bye week. 3rd and 6th round pick going the other way. Let's see. Tyler Lockett limited. Deebo Samuel had a DNP yesterday. Ryan Tannehill got a midweek DNP with an ankle injury. Hawkinson of the Lions DNP. Noah Brown, who's starting to get some attention there at the Cowboys. He didn't practice. No Cam Akers still for the Rams, and they say they are still working on a trade. We've been working under the assumption, Ray, that David Njoku is out this week, but he is giving a teasing quote about his availability for this week, right?
Yeah, he said that we will see when he was asked about playing this week. He says he's feeling better every day. Now, players oftentimes, right? But just put it out there because, it was 2 to 5 weeks was what we heard. 2 to 5 weeks is an odd time frame. 2 to 5? Okay. That's kind of like we don't really know. And that you see 2 to 3 weeks, you see 2 to 4 weeks, you see 4 to 6 weeks. You don't say 2 to 5 ever. But I would be very surprised if he played given the reports we have seen. And this, is obviously something to keep a close eye on. If you were a Njoku owner and you added Harris and Bryant, you're fine. If you just added Bryant because you thought, hey, time to be a little nervous, but I wouldn't go make a secondary move just because of this quote.
Finally, Jahan Dotson is embracing the spirit of Kadarius Toney, another DNP for him. So we'll see how those rookie wide receivers figure it out. Kind of been a rough year, as many expected for rookie wide receivers. Not a disaster. There have been a couple of good guys, like Pickens is looking good, but a lot of these other guys have struggled to kind of get in a groove and get things rolling in their rookie season. One other thing, because I did want to get this out. Maybe something was lost in the translation, but the Denver GM, Ray, 100% support for Nathaniel Hackett. 100. Now, if you envision that on the day the hiring was made and announced, that would be 100.
Right.
That usually is the case.
Okay.
I'm really behind this hire. Despite everything we have seen from that moment of hiring to right now when they're getting ready to play the Jaguars in London, Ray, he has not lost a percentage of belief in Nathaniel Hackett, which if that's the case, Ray, I now question the sanity of the Denver GM.
Yep.
Like, don't even say 100%. Come on, man. Stop
Just say you
yanking my
support
brain.
him. Just say you support him. He either
He
lied.
can still get it done.
Right. He either lied, misspoke, or he's a moron.
No.
Right? I mean, that's just how it. Oh, geez, how in the world someone could make that statement? Jeez, so disappointing.
Well, he was saying within that quote that nobody has kept the entire organization get together better than Nathaniel Hackett. Like, he's keeping all the players involved. He's keeping, all the support staff involved, the coaching staff, everybody at the practice field. Right? Nathaniel Hackett is glue. That's what he is.
He is until the game starts. He's 100%.
Then everything goes loose. Everything goes crazy. 100% support, though, for Nathaniel Hackett. If they were to fall to the Jags this weekend, things might change. Let us go to that game because Ray loves talking about Sunday morning football in jolly old England. Broncos are on the road this weekend against another team on the road, although I think this is, again, a Jacksonville home game. Thank you, Jacksonville supporters, as we steal 2 games from you each year to play in London. Right now, Ray, the Jags are favored. Jacksonville favored by 2.5. We are working under the assumption that Russell Wilson's playing.
Mm-hmm.
He has been very positive. I think today he was limited in practice. That is the assumption we're working under. And I would suspect, Ray, the books are working under that same assumption, yet the Jags are still favored in this game. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, well, I don't think the Jags are buying what the GM of the Broncos is selling, right? It is pretty wild because, I mean, coming into the season, there ain't a person in the world, I think, that legitimately thought that the Jaguars would be better than the Broncos. And, despite all the struggles the Broncos have had and they're pronounced on offense, it's a damn good defense. They perform very well. So, I don't know. I am surprised. It's a home team, like you said, home team. But I am surprised by that line. I agree with you.
The English do enjoy their tea, and they do enjoy their low-scoring sporting events, which is why this one should really hit the spot. Over-under's 39.5. 39.5 for Sunday morning. So we're under 40 with this game. Favorite prop between the Broncos and the Jaguars, Ray? Where are you going?
The squeaky wheel narrative, we watched the film on Monday and what the hell happened as a coaching staff. We screwed up. We always hear this. Oh, we've got to do a better job because they don't seemingly half the time know what's going on during a game, but they always realize after the fact. And why I'm saying all this is, with the return of Russell Wilson is my expectation as well, Kyle. We're going to get Cortland Sutton back on the horse, as they say. Brett Rippon threw the ball like 14 feet per pass last week. He just didn't do anything. He tried to get the ball to Sutton, couldn't do it. Cortland Sutton's a minus 115 to go over 52.5 yards. He will do so this week. Take that bet.
Okay, mine's going to be Etienne. And James Robinson's obviously out of there. I don't think you should really care about the backup. I don't think he's getting much work, despite what they say, JaMychal Hasty. But with Etienne, Ray, it's 18.5 yards receiving, which you've made this bet before. It's like a guy that I think is going to be involved in the passing game. I'll take the 18.5 yards. I'll take that shot. Etienne should get a load of work this week. Now, the matchup's difficult. Denver, they've got a lot of talent on that side of the football. Etienne has had some games where he's kind of like disappeared, but of late, the Jacksonville Jaguars are committing to Etienne. So I think that passing game is going to be at work. 3 to 4 catches for him on Sunday. So I'll take the over on 18.5, and that'll run you minus 115 in terms of the payoff. My player to watch is also on the Jacksonville side. It's going to be Christian Kirk. And Ray, that was a guy in the offseason kind of mocked for the money he got. And then he came out early in the season and had a phenomenal start. The first 3 games, he had 6 catches in all of them. Then he went to 2, 1, and 4. He had a total of 7 catches in the next 3 games. Then, Ray, he jumps back up with a huge game against the Giants last week. He has 7 catches. So he's my guy to watch. Which guy is it? Which Kirk are we going to get? I tend to think it's going to be the 5 to 7 catch guy. I think that's what Kirk has to be for this offense. So I do still like him here. And he is a guy, I'll say this, whether it's bad or good the previous week, Ray, just let him roll. I think he's the number 1 option in this passing game. He is Trevor Lawrence's top target. Just send him out there. Like, no one should be playing this guessing game with Christian Kirk. At the end of the year, the numbers are going to be there. You will have bad weeks. You will have good weeks. Don't try to guess. Don't try to play along with the matchups. Just send Christian Kirk out there. He's my guy to watch. Who's yours?
Yeah, this week we have him at 21st in the rankings at wide receiver at fantasyguru.com. Same thing. You just got to start him. My player to watch is also in the Jaguars offense, and it's a player that Jeff Mans and I talked about yesterday on his show. It's Evan Ingram, who I actually have in a couple of leagues. Evan Ingram, he's looked at by Trevor Lawrence. Like Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if he trusts him per se. I don't know what that really means, but he looks at him. He throws him the football. He ran 37 routes last week on his 60 snaps. He plays all the snaps as Ingram. He's the guy there. His last 4 games, he's caught at least 4 passes every time out. And the last 3 times, he's averaging 5 catches for 59 yards on 8 targets, which isn't elite at the tight end position, but it's right on that step below it. So I think that Evan Ingram, who could still be available on waiver wires, is basically an every week starter at the tight end position. Given the nature of this position, I would not at all be surprised if he's a top 10 tight end the rest of the way.
Yeah, if you're in a 12-team league and he's available, Ray, just grab him and forget about it.
Yep.
Like, just grab him and be done with it. As long as he's healthy on the field, just roll him, and then you want to play the game any week. Just roll Evan Ingram. He's involved enough to be a tight end one. That's just the fact of the matter. My fade here in this Broncos-Jaguars game, it's Russell Wilson. It's a reminder. I'm not starting this guy till we see something good. And we don't know what his health truly is. We haven't seen anything good this year. It pains me to say, because I own Russell Wilson in a couple leagues. But, Ray, I have moved him to the bench. He's on my bench, and I'm going with other guys who, name-wise, they're inferior. Like, I'm rolling with Kirk Cousins in one league. I've got Jared Goff in another league. I'm rolling with these guys. Russell Wilson, there's nothing here right now. So still not a starter for me even going into this weekend.
Well, the really good news is, though, Kyle, I mean, if we're being honest about this, he's had extremely long flight to England to stretch on. So, I mean, it's hours going across the ocean after you leave.
A lot of stretching.
Yeah, I think I have Wilson in one league and I have Daniel Jones, and I'm still internally debating which way to go this week. I think I'm leaning Jones at the moment.
I think you do.
Yeah, I'm leaning Jones at the moment, but that, to your point, like I said all of preseason, I love getting Jones as my 2. I love getting Wilson as my 1. now it's kind of reversed.
Okay, who's your fade?
My fade is the guy standing behind Russell Wilson or Brett Rippon. It's Gordon and Murray. I don't know. We just talked about Hackett. There is no plan. Okay, the plan is we don't have a plan at the running back position. They benched Gordon, then they name him the starter. Then he goes out and he plays 9 more snaps than Murray. He runs twice as many routes as Murray, but Murray's the guy in at the goal line, even though Gordon's thing over the years has been the ability to get the short yardage and the touchdown. I don't know what they're doing. I'm fading both guys. You can't be starting either one. There's no telling what they're going to do. It could be 15 touches for each. It could be 10 for one, 3 for another. It could be 13 and 6. It could be 5 catches. I have no idea what their plan is. No one can figure this out. I'm just out on this position this week.
Dare I ask the watchability in this game, Ray? Is it a 0? Because you're not going to watch this game.
Well,
let's be honest.
I would say the watchability factor for me is a 2.
Okay.
The Ray watchability factor is a 0. Well, I'll say 0.5 because I'll be up doing Twitter, so I'll have the game on.
You'll catch it in the background.
Yeah, it'll be back. It will not be a game that I plan on rewatching. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, England, all that kind of stuff. These two,
The only Ray change starts with you. If you want to get rid of these English games, just don't turn them on.
Boycott.
Change starts with you.
Fair
Lead it. I've got a 2 as well. Let's go to another Sunday game, which starts at an ordinary hour. Miami and Detroit. By the way, that game is 9:30 Eastern for the Broncos and the Jaguars. So 8:30 Central, 6:30 out west. But Miami and Detroit, Ray, that's a 1 o'clock Eastern, which that's really in your lane. 10 a.m. out west. You prefer that.
Yes.
Miami, the road team, favored by 3.5. Big over under here, 51.5. My favorite prop, Ray, I think the second half will be full of back and forth and teams playing catch up. And, these are two offenses that have the ability to air it out. And I think in the second half, both will be willing to air it out. But in the first half, I sense a feeling out between the two sides. So I will take an under first half point total of 27, which is actually a big number for the first half. I'm going to take the under -110. I think these two teams can get over 50. I don't have any doubt about that, but I think it's going to be backloaded, especially in the fourth quarter. So I'm going to go the under in the first half. What's your prop here?
The other day, I took the 250 passing yards for Goff and for Tua, both of them getting there. I think, was it 275 was the odds or whatever it was. Today, I'm just going to take Tua. It's -115 to go over 271.5. I don't look at this and think he's going 370. But I do think that with the weapons he has, with the way the offense is going, he's getting over that mark against a Lions team that does struggle at times to stop the opponent.
Take my player to watch, Ray. I'm going to go with Raheem Mostert. We're almost at the point, maybe we're at the point, where you feel good about Raheem Mostert, and that means the wheels are going to come off. I mean, right at the point where you're like, he's got the job and he's going to get 15 carries a week. And my God, he looks good. Why hasn't Raheem Mostert ever been an all-pro? You're going to find out this week. And I would almost sit here and call for the injury to Raheem Mostert. The last 4 weeks, Ray, these are great touch totals. 17, 19, 15, and 20. That's big-time stuff there. We've been here before, though. And like I said, let's see if he can make it through this game. And I'll probably say this every game until the injury happens. But with Mostert, you're usually on borrowed time. And for anybody who has him, you play him. I like him in this matchup. You send him out there. But we're bound to be reminded of Raheem Mostert and kind of his MO, I think, soon.
I think you're right, unfortunately. But I've got him in multiple leagues. He's in my lineup the last couple of weeks. He'll be in my lineups again this week. You're right.
Who's your watch?
My watch is a guy that everyone, we haven't gone into this in depth. People can find it in other places. We did talk about it. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a concussion, didn't have a concussion, he didn't have a concussion. They said from the sky, you can't play. Okay. He had the ankle injury. There's a bye week in here. I get the real sense that people have forgotten just how good this guy has been. So Amon-Ra St. Brown is my guy to watch. He's a player everyone should start, and I've gotten some. Do I start him? Yes, you start him. He scored 6 times the last 5 games at home. He has 8 catches in 5 straight games at home. 8 catches in 5 straight games at home. He's caught 6 passes for 64 yards in all 3 games. He's played a full complement of snaps this year. So don't look past him. Don't forget about him because of the ankle, because of the fake concussion, and because of the bye week.
My fade, Ray, is actually two guys. They play the same position. Hawkinson and Gesicki. Ray, it's either they're going to finish 1-2 in tight end scoring this week, or they're going to finish 17th and 20th. And I'm going to go with the 17th and 20th. Hawkinson's limping around. Gesicki's Gesicki. Fade them both. Now, I get it. You're going to have to start them in a variety of leagues because what else are you rolling at tight end? But I think it's going to be more pie in the face instead of a success for those two tight ends. And it's magical that they get to face off with each other. I just don't think we'll be happy watching what we see. Who's your fade for the Dolphins and the Lions?
There are a lot of people that are starting this guy. And in fact, I am starting him. But I'm fading DeAndre Swift this week. I don't know what we're going to get. I'm assuming he's going to play finally. The shoulder issue is supposed to be no big deal. He's been out for a month. He's had one game this year with 8 carries. It was week 1. 8. He's beat up the last 2 times he played. He's been beat up the last couple of years. He's a explosive player, and he will be given an opportunity to be explosive this week if indeed he's on the field as expected. But what's his workload going to look like? I have no idea. Is his shoulder going to hold up? I have no idea. So again, I'm starting him myself in multiple leagues. It's as much about what do I have to turn to if it's not him. But he's a running back too this week that makes me nervous, Kyle.
I mentioned I'm taking the under in the first half. Folks, make sure even if it is under in the first half, stick around for the second half. I think there's watchability here. I think there's some late fireworks, maybe even late game heroics, Ray. There may be a big pass play or two down the stretch. I got a 4 on the watchability.
I'm going to 3. I could have pushed it to a 4. I think it's fair. Probably should have just gone a 3.5, but I left it at a 3.
Okay, I'll go 4. Ray goes 3. Dolphins and Lions. Either team gets a win here. That could help them a ton. Dolphins at a pretty good spot. Detroit needs the W. They've kind of lost all that early steam from early in the season. If they want to get it back, you got to win this home game against the visiting Dolphins. We'll take a breather here. When we come back, Tyler Beaker is with us. Tyler is back from Jamaica. You might remember last week he was enjoying the finer corners of the Jamaican Isle. Today he gets to enjoy hanging out with Ray and I. He'll be down for it. I know he's down for it.
Think he's got a tan?
Nah.
The beard.
Nah, Tyler doesn't. Tyler doesn't appear to be a tanning guy.
That's
Ray, you don't appear to be a tanning guy.
I actually can get tan. You're right. I don't appear to be, but I can actually get tan. I just never go in the sun anymore.
When I think of Ray in the sun, it's like that old joke. It's like Ray walks on the beach and it's just like he's a fork in the microwave. It's just like sparks. It's just a lot of sparks. It's one of those things. You immediately open the door. Oh my God, what's happening? You think microwaves ever truly explode, Ray?
I was watching a
I
show.
would hear they might, but I don't ever hear about it.
I was watching a show the other night on History Channel, like the history of food they do, and they were talking about the microwave. The original microwave weighed like 700 pounds. It was like a refrigerator, and it was only, for this big of a thing. I assume there have been ones that have blown up, not just ones where people have thrown, pennies or forks in them. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
A buddy of mine, his kid left one of the microwavable mac and cheeses in the microwave. He wanted to see how long it would take to like set it on fire.
Okay.
I think he set the microwave for like 10 minutes just to watch the cardboard go up in flames. So, things those wild kids do, right? Things those kids do. Okay, break for us. Duke is next. Tyler to follow. Stay with us. More of Lunch Money on BSN.
Good afternoon, bettors. It's your boy Duke, back in better than ever, presented to you as always by fantasyguru.com. Welcome back to Duke's Den. Hopefully you guys are saying that with me by now. It's been an awesome run here on Lunch Money. We got a winner yesterday. We cashed our Champions League parlay. We have 3 active bets tonight in college football. Of course, we have the parlay, first leg Utah money line, Ohio State and Tennessee. We also have Utah -7, that's -110. And NC State -13.5, -110 as well. Hoping that playbook works around their new quarterback Chambers and they use his legs quite a bit. We do have Europa League soccer today on Thursday. Let's go to the football everyone really cares about. Let's talk about Thursday night football. Amazon Prime night, Jeff Bezos' heaven. The NFL finally gives them a palatable game, right? Ravens and Buccaneers. What can go wrong? Probably thought when they scheduled this, Ravens will be like 5-2. Buccaneers 6-1 is going to be an absolute slobber knocker, right? Nope. Not even close. Ravens underperforming. Bucks awful. Awful. As we head down to Raymond James tonight, look, this is a rat line. Currently, the Buccaneers are -1.5 at home here. 46 on the total. Earlier this year, MLB model, Siege, and myself over at fantasyguru.com created a piece of content that was about 2 hours in length. We went team by team, breaking down the highs and the lows, the wins and the losses, and took over or under their total. One of the stands I made was under on the Buccaneers season win total. In fact, I had them winning 9 games. I got laughed off the podcast. Laughed off. Was I right or was I right? Just so many issues with the Buccaneers this year. Losing their center, Rob Gronkowski retires, Tom Brady's another year older. Now his life's falling apart, and so is his football team. But this is a rat line. Why are they favorites? Let's break this down. Well, number one, the Ravens are good when they run the ball. Not balanced when they run the ball. When they run the ball 35 to 40 times a game, obviously, number one, it's working. You don't keep running if it's not. But number two, that brings the defense up and opens these deep passes downfield for Lamar, or creates man-on-man situations where he can run with his own legs. Buccaneers, decent enough team, but when they come up against teams that can run, they struggle. Their run defense has been inconsistent at best. Weeks 2, 4, and 5, they've allowed 440 rushing yards. That's 146 yards per game. Weeks 1, 3, and 6, 215 rushing yards. So inconsistent, right? But you figure week 7, the Panthers, they just traded away McCaffrey. Surely they'll be fine defensively, right? Nope. Chuba Hubbard, Donta Foreman combined for 181 rushing yards. There's plenty to like about this Buccaneers pass defense, but the Ravens are about the worst matchup they could possibly have. This is public. I'm probably a donkey here. Give me the Ravens money line, and I'll take the under 46 points. Good luck. Adios.
It's always lunchtime here. Now back to Kyle Elfrink and Ray Flowers.
You know, I questioned Ray's ability to pull off a tan. He was a bit upset with that call. So Ray, you forwarded me a photo claiming that this is what I look like with a tan. I'll just tell you this. Nowadays, Ray, there are filters for everything. I can't really trust photographic evidence anymore. This has got it. How old is this? Come on. This is 10, 12 years ago?
No, it's like 6.
No way.
Yeah.
Ray, you've got like life behind your eyes. This is not 6 years ago.
That's pretty good, Kyle. Pretty good life behind your eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. Where were you that you got that tan?
That was Vegas. That was Vegas photo.
Tip of the Alps or something?
Yeah. No, I mean, I when I sit out, I actually get tan. And people joke all the time because I do get white quickly. But
yeah.
You forget. I just sent another photo when we hung out. You forget I was tan then.
Well, Ray, I hate to break it to you, but the times I see you, I don't sit there with like one of those wall paint sheets from Sherwin-Williams and say, well, which tan is Ray here? Which color of brown is he? I really don't look at your body tan, Ray, on the occasions when I run into you.
Yeah, I won't send you those photos, but I do have those photos too. Because we talked about this the other day. My gal loves to take photos of me in bathtubs. So I actually have a bunch of photos with my tan line if you actually wanted to see it, Kyle, but I will not send those to you.
Do you have lit candles on your bathtub?
No.
You don't. Okay.
Because remember, now I have the freestanding tub. There's nothing around. It's just the tub.
Okay.
In the old days, there could have been candles, but there weren't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we started talking about this tanning because our next guest, Tyler Beaker, is back from Jamaica. We expect him to look like who was the guy way back when? The guy that used to always do the TV commercials and have the great tan. It was like a thick tan there. I cannot remember the name.
Like the Dos Equis guy, the most interesting man in the world?
No, not the Dos Equis guy. No, he was like an 80s and 90s kind of guy, but he always had a super tan.
Hamilton?
Yeah, Hamilton. George Hamilton. That guy. You're exactly right, Ray. George Hamilton. Well, let's see if Tyler Beaker has a George Hamilton-like Jamaican tan. He is with us after a week away. Tyler was on the beautiful island of Jamaica. I've never been there, Ray. Have you been to Jamaica?
Have not. No.
Okay, have not. Tyler has been. I'm not seeing George Hamilton here. I'm not seeing it.
No.
He's saying no to us. How you doing today, Tyler?
I'm doing phenomenal. You guys are making me laugh. You guys have the rapport going down. Man, so we were at the wedding and everyone was talking about their makeup for like their foundations and stuff. Someone had something called marshmallow. Someone had something called translucent. I'm further on the white scale than that. So
you are freshly fallen snow. Maybe that's
Yeah.
what we should go with.
I was constantly under shade. I was reapplying suntan lotion hourly. Yeah, I was definitely on the mission of not getting burned there.
Yeah, what was this your first trip to Jamaica? Can you tell what'd you think of it?
I had been there once before as a teenager, but it was a lot more fun there as an adult. We went to an all-inclusive, so I had a lot of fun there. The fun thing about the rum and cokes there, the Coca-Cola has no sugar in it, so very, very easy to put those back and not have to worry about the sugar hangovers or anything like that. So we had a blast. The wedding was great. It went by way too fast. Wish I could do it again.
Yeah, well, we welcome you back, and you get to talk Bucks Ravens with us. That's always exciting. Before I leave this, though, if I go to if I go to Australia, you're not going to find a Foster's. Like they don't have Foster's beer. Is Red Stripe everywhere in Jamaica? Is it legitimate?
It's the only beer on tap that they had at our resort. And anytime we wanted to try to find an IPA or any other kind of beer, they said Red Stripe, Red Stripe.
Kyle,
Red Stripe it is.
By the way, I think I have a Red Stripe upstairs, Kyle.
Well,
my collection of
Ray.
yeah, I actually think it's one of my
Red.
beers that I haven't.
I got a feeling Tyler might throw up if he sees another Red Stripe. He's probably like, I don't want those ever again. Speaking of throwing up, Thursday night football. That has caused many a retching, I think, this season. Tonight, it feels like, Tyler, it should be better. We've got Brady. We've got Lamar Jackson. But then I recall that Lamar Jackson's been in a real funk. And I recall that the last 2 weeks, the Bucks have looked like Steelers. They look terrible against the Panthers. I want to start with Tampa. Is there something intrinsically wrong? Like, how is the offense so off as they get ready for this game right now?
It has been a brutal last 2 weeks for them, losing to Pittsburgh, losing to Carolina. Now they play home on Thursday Night Football. They are, a 2-point favorite right now. That spread has moved quite a bit over the last few days, but I believe they are favored right now, and I kind of agree with this sentiment. I think it's a get-right spot for them. The Ravens are beatable on the ground and through the pass. They are, I think it's 17th in rush DVOA defense. So they're not like exploitable on the run, but Leonard Fournette should be able to find some success here and there. I know there's some talk of Rachaad White also getting elevated touches. So I think Fournette's probably a strong, upper end RB2, while Rachaad White's probably a guy you'd rather not start on a week where there's only 2 teams on bye. The passing attack, though, I think there's some great spots here for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. There's a lot of injuries here in the receiver front with Russell Gage ruled out, Cameron Brate ruled out, Julio Jones questionable. We don't have that information at this time. But I like what Godwin and Evans have matchup-wise against these Ravens corners, especially in the slot. I think there's a really good shot that Chris Godwin, his reception prop, 6.5 right now, with a lot of juice towards the over. I was hoping to get a 5-5, but no, that's straight out of luck with that one. So I think the best bet if you're looking for these guys right now is probably to hit like a Mike Evans anytime touchdown. He's gone, I think, 2 straight without it. He's never gone 3 straight, if I'm not mistaken. I need to look that back up again, but that might be just under the Brady era. But I think this team gets back on track here against Baltimore. Again, we've had a lot of stinkers on Thursday Night Football. I don't think this one will be to that degree.
Woohoo!
I channeled my Tyler Beaker because I took the Evans prop earlier on the touchdown.
Awesome.
I want to ask you about the other side here, though. Let's talk about the Ravens. Scoring is down, offense is down, fantasy production is down. So Kyle and I went through the struggles with Lamar Jackson compared to like last year's numbers, but he's still a top end quarterback. Talk to us though about the passing attack with this Ravens team, because we used to think, hey man, he just throws it to the tight end all the time. And he did throw it to the tight end last week, but it wasn't to Mark Andrews. What is going on with the passing attack right now with the Ravens? And are they going to have success tonight against Tampa Bay, given what you know?
Yeah, Mark Andrews working through a knee injury right now, did not practice at all. Rashad Bateman played 56% of the snaps last week as he was returning from injury. They are both banged up kind of a bit entering this matchup. The Bucks, they are number 6 in pass DVOA defense, but they're missing a lot of key pieces here. Cornerback Carlton Davis is out. Slot cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting is out. Safety Antoine Winfield Jr. is out. So I think that number 6 rating is kind of a facade what they're facing against tonight. So I think there could be a really good competitive game here with the Ravens. They are exactly league average right now in pass rate over expectation. When you think Baltimore, you generally think run heavy offense, but they are right in line with the league right now in terms of their pass rate over expectation. Tampa Bay, for record, right now they're +6, which is on the higher end. But I think the Ravens have the ability to challenge this team basically on the ground. I think that's where they want to attack. Keem Hicks, a key run defender for the Bucs, is out, so I think Gus Edwards is a strong play. But they have those secondary injuries that I mentioned. Will be able to provide some flexibility and some ability to change their run pass ratio whenever needed to keep the chains moving and mix up their play calling. So I think the Ravens have a good shot of pulling off the upset here. Again, like this is just a small 2-point spread. It wouldn't be shocked to see either team win. So I'm kind of staying away from picking a side here, Baltimore or Tampa Bay.
Tyler Beaker of fantasyguru.com joining us here on Lunch Money. Tyler, talk to us directly about Bateman and Duvernay, because I think there's a general consensus that if Bateman's fully healthy, you play Bateman over Duvernay, but is there a reason to favor one of the other? Let's assume Bateman's foot's okay and he's going to see a full complement of snaps. Duvernay and Bateman, talk to us about those two guys in the matchup tonight, which you mentioned seems advantageous given the issues in the backfield for the Bucs.
Yeah, I think both make sense. Bateman is the guy you would like to target just because of his draft pedigree, where he stands on the depth chart, and the fact that we saw him eased back into action last week. That 56% snap rate I mentioned should be up closer to the 60, 70, 80 mark now. The Bucs pass secondary, they are just beat up right now due to injury. So there's a chance that Bateman has a good chance at putting off a good outing here. The problem with Bateman is he's really just been a home run or bust kind of player. We haven't really seen a consistent high floor from him. Perhaps this is the week with Mark Andrews not being at 100%. I'd be very bearish about taking any Mark Andrews overs right now. I'm very, very scared about putting him in seasonal starting lineups, but in that kind of format, you're kind of forced to, rather than rolling the dice on any kind of waiver wire type options. But I think Bateman's a strong play. Duvernay, I'm really sheepish on just because this Ravens offense, they are just very slow in terms of their pace of play. They are bottom 6 in neutral script pass rate. I'm sorry, bottom 6 in neutral script pace of play. They are bottom 6 in total plays per game. So they play slow and they run little volume. Because of that, I don't think we can find much volume for Duvernay. Isaiah likely probably carves out a bigger role just because of the way this Ravens offense operates.
Tyler, a couple of more questions on this Ravens offense, but both from the running side. First off would be, Lamar Jackson is a huge threat with his legs. No breaking news there. But we will occasionally see, hey, so-and-so a defense does not allow rushing yardage to a QB. They haven't given up any rushing yardage. And I tend to throw that out the window because they haven't played Lamar Jackson yet, because it's a totally different challenge. Do you give any credence to numbers that say, wow, this defense has the propensity to keep a QB in the pocket? Or do you say that's all out the window when you have guys like Hurts or you have guys like Jackson or Josh Allen?
So what I like to do for those types of rushing quarterbacks is target defenses that play man heavy. That's where the cornerbacks will run with the receivers, turn their backs to the quarterback, providing big rushing lanes whenever the quarterback's able to escape the pass rush. The Bucs aren't particularly on one end of the spectrum here, zone or man heavy. So it's not really a matchup where I'm actively targeting Lamar Jackson props, but I mean, he could always go for 60 plus yards in any given week.
Yeah. And then in the backfield, Gus Edwards is the latest Raven to have. And I think the emphasis is on latest because it seems to change all the time. Do you expect 2-3 different running backs tonight? Or are you saying, hey, man, what Gus Edwards did last week, that has won him the job or that has won him the majority of the snaps? How do you expect to see that backfield play out tonight?
I don't think we should expect a 2-touchdown outing again, but Gus Edwards, 16 carries last week, 66 yards, looked really, really good against Cleveland as they eased him back into action. I think those training wheels are ripped off this week where he's just able to go and be a productive back for them. They've allowed 4.5 yards per carry to opposing backs, and this Bucs defense isn't remotely close to what they used to be in years past. They are middle of the pack in rush yards allowed, middle of the pack in rush EPA per play allowed. Ravens are top 12 in early down rush frequency, so they like to run on early downs, but they are relatively balanced, as I said earlier. So I expect with this game being competitive without a massive spread in one direction, for Gus Edwards to get his numbers. Again, with no Keem Hicks, I like the matchup for Gus Edwards quite a bit.
Tyler, obviously this game you talk tight ends and it's Mark Andrews. You look at the broader picture and Everett and Kelsey are out this week. Cade Otton, there's all these weapons
Yeah.
with the Bucks. Talk to us about Cade Otton, his role in this offense. If you have any expectations for him tonight, because there are people that are forced to or choosing to play him this week.
Yeah, 5 targets average over the last 3 weeks. David Njoku just went 777 against them. So 7 catches, 77 yards. I think Otton is a smart play given the injuries we talked about with Brait, with Gage, with Julio questionable. If you're looking for tight end streaming help, he's right on that tight end 13 through 15 kind of range for me. So if you need that help, I think he's a strong play given the injuries, given the bye weeks. I think he's a smart play here.
Tyler, Ray was doing a Wayne's World swing when he heard that you liked the Mike Evans prop for the touchdown. Me, on the other hand, my prop I took was I actually said the under on Brady and Jackson combining for 505 passing yards. Yet I hear you say you're kind of expecting some good passing numbers here. You'd probably take that over, huh?
So there's a lot of injuries in the secondary for each side, which makes me want to lean that way. But
yeah,
I kind of agree with you. If Mark Andrews is not at 100%, I like the Lamar Jackson as a singular play on the under. And if we're doing the combo thing, I think that both make sense.
Yeah, 505.5 is that number there. Believe it or not, the Bucks, despite a 3-4 record, still in first place in the NFC South. Baltimore as well, sitting in first place. So both teams would be in the playoffs if things ended today. Couple of playoff teams tonight, 8:15. Your column, is it up yet for tonight's game, or is it coming out here in the next hour or so?
I actually don't have a game script article.
Oh, you're off
for
today.
Thursdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at this. This guy goes to Jamaica and he embraces the true Rastafarian style. He's like, taking it easy. Let me slide back into the work week. Sunday, he will have a breakdown of all those games. You can bet. He'll be hunting around in Discord with Fantasy Guru. Tyler Beaker getting you set for week 8. It is a pleasure to have you back in. Really appreciate it. Glad your trip went well, and we'll talk to you next week. Okay, Tyler?
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Tyler Beaker, fantasyguru.com, hanging out with us. Man, all those injuries, Ray, he's right. I hadn't really gone through the player by player, secondary by secondary, but they are beat up. The Ravens, after that game against Miami, we all thought, oh, they suck. Let's attack that secondary. They've been pretty good as a pass defense ever since those first 2 or 3 weeks when they might have been the worst squad in the NFL in terms of defending the pass.
Yeah, and sometimes we jump to conclusions because we have no choice when we have no data, right? I mean, that's the nature of the beast. And we talk about this a lot, the ranking of this team against the pass or against the run or against the tight end position, whatever it might be. But then it's not just the numbers. It's, when did it happen? Who did it happen against? What was the opponent? So they're all data points that are useful. It's just at the start of the season, sometimes we overemphasize them because, again, we just don't have enough data to really compare it to.
Yeah, those first few games, let me pull up the numbers here. Passing yardage allowed 297, 461, 302. That was really bad. Yeah. The next 4 games, 201, 190, 155, and then 223. Much better. Huge improvement there. I will note they've had that run against Allen. They had that run against Joe Burrow. They went on the road, Daniel Jones, Brissett. Okay, you should shut those guys down. This is another challenge here with Tom Brady. Going on the road, short week, quick turnaround. We'll see if Brady is ready to light up the board against this Ravens defense. Want to thank Tyler Beaker again for joining us. Let's hit a break here. When we come back, we are hearing from Kadarius Toney about his arrival in Kansas City. If you missed that earlier, he has been traded from the Giants to the Chiefs. So we'll let you know what Kadarius is thinking. We've got some more game previews. We've got dessert. Got a few other items that we got to get to you. Busy last 35 minutes or so as we keep things rolling, taking you up until 3 o'clock. You got Corey Nando and friends headed your way. Right now, let's say hello one final time. Duke is in the den. Duke has some thoughts. So let's send it to him and get you the latest wagering plays.
Good afternoon, sports fans and bettors. It's your boy Duke, back and better than ever. Presented to you, as always, by fantasyguru.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to Duke's Den. Try to make you money one bet at a time. We have 1 million bets tonight. I'm not going to recap them. If you missed them, grab Better Sports Network on demand. It's like 10 cents a day. You get to listen to every show. You can go back and rewind and catch any bets you missed. Listen to Kyle and Ray tell funny stories and what they're having for dinner and lunch and drinks and everything. Just do it. It's cheap. I love it. I did it. It's fun. Now, I gave you 3 college football bets. I gave you a side and total for tonight's Thursday night football game. We have one more NFL game that's off the main schedule. That is 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Sunday morning, Wembley Stadium, London, England. Jacksonville Jaguars, 2.5-point favorites. I almost want to say home favorites because they play there so much. 39.5 on the total. Can we possibly go under a 39.5 total? Now, let me tell you a couple things. Number one, long flight. Okay, I've made the trip to England twice. Long flights there and back. Now, I was younger. I ended up sleeping on the floor for one of those flights, but you got to sleep. You got to do. That's just the thing you got to do. And look, in a previous life, I flew at least twice a week when I ran North America for a big sales company. Made a bunch of money, whatever. Now I get to do this for fun. Work hard, play hard. That's neither here nor there. People are the worst on airplanes, whether it's the person who runs to the front of the airplane as soon as you hit the gate. Those people stink. How about the person who puts their luggage in the wrong overhead bin and ruins it for everybody else? And now, even though you're on row 10, you got to go back to the back of the plane to put your bag away because someone else screwed up. Those people are the worst. How about the guy, the quarterback, doing stretches for 4 hours in the middle? Russell Wilson is the worst person. Not on earth, because there's bad people, but in the NFL. I don't know what this guy's doing. He was out, now he's in. The team hasn't said he's in, but he said he's in. I think this team hates Russell Wilson. I don't hate anybody, but I dislike him. I dislike him on this football team in particular. This defense is top-notch. Take nothing away from this Broncos defense. It is not their fault they're 2-5 on the season. I mean, look, take last week, for example. Outside of Breece Hall's 60-yard touchdown run, the Jets' offense finished Week 7 with 190 total yards on 52 plays. Let me say that again. An NFL football team had 190 yards on 52 plays. This defense is top-notch. However, this offense has no chemistry. The wide receivers are frustrated. The running backs are frustrated. Is Melvin Gordon going to carry or not? Who knows? Nathaniel Hackett can't get it done. He can't hack it. Jaguars have played like 1 million games in London. That's why it's basically a home game for them. I'm going under 39.5, and I'm laying the 2.5 with the Jags. They've been bad, but Peterson knows what he's doing. He's going to get them back on track against this team. Under 2.5. Bye.
It's always lunchtime here. Now back to Kyle Elfrink and Ray Flowers.
Kiss me once, kiss me twice, and kiss me once again.
I thought Ray was going to come back with like a feather boa around his neck with that music.
I always listen to this. It reminds me of my grandparents, this kind of music, record player and everything like that. Is this the song they always played with Captain America in all the Marvel movies with
Captain America played this?
With Peggy. It is. With Peggy Carter. Yeah, this is the song they always played when they were, because they met in the 40s during World War II and all that. So before you laugh at me, you should applaud me for my breadth of knowledge.
Well, that was the Harry James version you're talking about.
It was different.
This appears to be the Louis Armstrong version.
Yeah, you can tell this is Louis, but I'm just saying. Well,
I proudly still have never seen any of those movies.
Really?
Ever. Yeah.
You might like the original Captain America, the original
that Winter Soldier or whatever.
No, that one's the one that's rated higher, but I think you might like that too, actually, because you probably would like the Captain America ones more because there's they're amped up human beings, but they don't shoot lasers out of their eyes or anything like that. There's a bit of mystery. You're the James Bond kind of intrigue. Winter Soldiers would be a good one to watch. Yeah.
Amped up human beings. See, Ray, I watched baseball back in the early 2000s, so I already saw that movie, that flick.
How dare you, Kyle?
Yeah. We welcome you back to Lunch Money. Thanks to Duke for all the help today. Thanks to you there in the chat room. We've had a lot of action back and forth. Been some good times. We've got more games to get to. Got some good thoughts already for Thursday Night Football. Told you about Kadarius Toney. As we were on air, the news came out that Kadarius Toney had been traded to the Chiefs. Ray, he appears to be another spoiled brat. We were talking about this last week with Elijah Moore. And I warned you, Ray. I said, all these guys are now coming out of a collegiate sport where they were allowed to say, I only got 15 snaps. I'm out of here. That's what they were all allowed to do in college. They're now doing that in the NFL, Ray. And Elijah Moore wants out because he didn't like how he was being used for a week or two. And it kind of sounds like, to read to Kadarius Toney on Twitter, that he is kind of upset with the Giants and I guess, how they were treating him. He has suddenly earned renewed life after a year and a half of sitting on the NFL sidelines.
Yeah, in the city that some people deem the greatest city in the world, making a lot of money to play
And
a
now
game.
he's going to Kansas City, Ray, which is a hopping town.
Yep.
Kansas City is
Yep.
the next big housing market.
Okay.
That's where all the cool kids are going.
Didn't know
Seriously.
that. Is that true?
Nashville's done.
Okay.
Nashville, bleh.
Yeah,
Kansas
okay.
City, that's the place.
Yeah, he's thanking the Almighty, and he is apparently very happy to be a chief. So we're reading and inferring a lot into that very short tweet, but I think given everything we know, your assessment of the situation seems rather fair.
Well, his tweet, Ray, is Chiefs Kingdom, baby. Thank you, God. Now, I read that, Ray, and it's like, thank you, God, for getting me out of that hellhole that is the Meadowlands. That's what I read when I see that. I mean, is there any other takeaway than that?
Well, there could be. He was just saying thank you. Thank you for helping me, and I'm happy to go and be happy doing this. You could also read it with the inflection that you put on it, which is probably more likely to be accurate. I will do again. Yeah. By the way, I'm reading Kadarius Toney. Toney apparently is also suggesting he's not hurt. So
all he did was whine his way out of town, right?
He pulled a Ben Simmons.
Think about this. He faked an injury to get out of town in his second year in the league. How many games has he played? 5?
He's played 5 good quarters. I know that.
5 good quarters. How many games has this punk actually played?
This punk has actually played technically 12 games.
12. Okay, I undershot it just a bit. All he did, Ray, was complain his way out of town. That's what was going on here the whole time.
Yeah, it was Ben Simmons. It was a perfect time. You brought up Ben Simmons. It's the same thing in football. Yeah.
I tend to think. Now, there are cases, Ray, especially at wide receiver, where we get these pouty babies and they still succeed. It's usually good for about a year or two. Now, Kadarius Toney's done nothing. Okay. Even Terrell Owens, Ray,
he
didn't start pouting and acting like a jerk until he'd become something. He actually put in the work,
right,
and then said, okay, I'm diva. Now I'm going to act like one. People forget. I remember when Terrell Owens, Ray, was that against the Packers in the playoffs, had that awesome catch at the end of the game thrown by Steve Young, got hammered over the middle, but it was the game-winning touchdown. It was like a great moment. I think it was like his second year in the league or something, maybe his rookie year. Terrell Owens was a guy you could root for. He then, 3 years later, became the Terrell Owens who we now know of. The Terrell Owens. So he put in the work, Ray. He turned in the numbers. Kadarius Toney's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. In the grand scheme of things, Kadarius Toney is a nobody. It's what he is. Yet he has still pouted his way out of the franchise, lands in Kansas City. Now, there are a lot of people think this is going to be a huge improvement and he's ready to take off. I'm going to say no, Ray, because people like this, at the first sign of things not going their way, they complain, they moan. The Chiefs love signing up for this crap, and some work, most do not with Kansas City. We'll see where this one goes. But again, I'm not in on the Kadarius Toney to Kansas City like everybody else seems to be on today.
Yeah, interestingly enough, too, right? I think that Owens can still run like a 4.5 40. He still does things every once in a while. He's a remarkable athlete. We said this earlier on the show. People missed it. We were on air when the news broke, and you just echoed basically our overall sentiment that, we'll see what happens. Everything's good now, and we'll see where it is in 5 weeks if he's playing 20 snaps a week, getting 2 targets. We'll see.
Yeah, he may be.
Yep.
He may be. And it may be easier for him to handle that working with Pat Mahomes. It may be. And the other thing is, where else are you going to go, kid? If you're going to complain out of New York and you dare complain out of Kansas City, nobody else is going to want you. Actually, I take that back. A team like Houston would want you, or the Jags would want you, or the Panthers. That's where you end up next. You got a chance here, Kadarius. I would suggest you take advantage of it. Before we dig into a couple of other games this week, get you a lunch hunch. Reminder, tomorrow on Friday, Moose and Keith, they get going at, 11? Yeah, 11 a.m. tomorrow. They will be handing off another giveaway. This one is a blast from the past. An autographed Lindell White. jersey. Wasn't there a year, Ray, where Lindell White had like 15 touchdowns? Some silly number. Like he had like, I don't know, 70 carries and 10 touchdowns. He was like the ultimate goal line vulture. Is that true? Am I right on that at all with Lindell White?
I'm gonna have to pull that up. I think you're right.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, there was a vulture year.
Yeah, you're right. He had 200 carries, which isn't a low amount, but he only ran for 773 yards, but had 15 touchdowns.
15 touchdowns with 700. Yeah, that's vulture-esque. This is a Titans jersey, which I think that year that was the 15 touchdown was with the Titans, I believe.
Correct.
They will be giving away an autographed Lindell White jersey tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's the Moose and Keith show. In order to qualify, got to be 18, got to have the app, got to be registered, which allows you to be in the chat room and to win all of our contest prizes. You cannot have won anything in the last 90 days here at BSN. So check in for that. Getinthegame.com, big thank you to them for helping us out again. And, of course, the Bettor Sports Network, bringing you that autographed jersey. Okay, Ray, lunch hunch. What do you got as a long shot call for today?
My lunch hunch today is dealing with the Buffalo Bills game, and I'm going to go with the following, that Josh Allen basically is Mr. 300 at this point in terms of the air, so that's part of this. One rushing touchdown, you talked about it earlier. He gets 7-8 touchdowns every year, it seems like, so we got a 50-50 chance of him getting in the end zone anyway. Coming off some rest, so he's got to go 300 in rushing score, and we need Aaron Rodgers to go for 250.
Ugh.
Those three things happen. We get a +7 hundo. You're most concerned about the yardage for Rodgers, not the yardage or the rushing score for Allen.
I mean, I have no faith in 250 yards passing. I shouldn't say no. There's a 10% chance in my book, which is crazy, Ray, because for years that number has been Aaron Rodgers, 250, 60%. Like that's literally what it's been.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel it's like 10 to 15%. Lazard, Ray, we may not have him.
Yep.
I don't know. Unless Mercedes Lewis turns the clock back 27 years, I don't know if he's getting to 250. It's going to have to be a resurgent showing from the 49-year-old tight end.
Isn't it amazing? A resurgent showing to throw for 251 yards. Rough.
+700 is attractive. I'll give you that. And maybe the greatness, or maybe Sunday Night Football, the lights, the bright lights. Maybe Rodgers will go up for that.
There you go.
My lunch hunch is for tonight. Now, Ray's not feeling Fournette. Not feeling it. I'm feeling Fournette. I told you this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling Fournette, Ray, to the tune of 100+ on the ground and a touchdown.
Okay.
And Ray, that is +900.
Yeah, because it's not happening, but okay.
I feel better about mine than yours. I mean, they're both long shots. That's what the lunch hunch is. It's a long shot.
Right.
But I feel better about mine than yours, Ray, and I'm getting +900. You're only getting 700.
Yeah, he's averaging 39 yards. He hasn't run for 65 yards since like week 2. I don't know. And I'm just saying.
He's getting the work. Like if let's say the running game starts out well, he's getting 20 carries tonight. You know, we've seen that with Leonard Fournette. He could get 20.
He could get 20 carries. He could.
Yeah. And as long as they're for 5 yards a pop, then he's getting to 100.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Because there are not going to be a lot of 45 yards, I can tell you that.
Maybe, Ray, I'll be texting you when he crosses the century.
Okay.
Mark,
I'll be around.
All
right.
Again, 8:15 for that kickoff tonight. Let's look ahead to Sunday. Got a couple of more games to preview here. Tennessee and Houston is one of them. Titans on the road. They're only a 2-point favorite here. That's probably going to catch some people off guard, Ray. It tells me Vegas feels Houston's got an upset in them. And I don't hate that idea. I think this could be a bit of a trap, if you will, for the Tennessee Titans. They're just not, and this has been going on for 3 years, Ray. They're not an overly impressive team, and they have had issues with teams like Houston in the past, especially on the road, where, if Derrick Henry gets stopped or if they fall behind 14-3, the key, Ray, is if Houston gets up early, Tennessee's not a comeback team. They cannot. You get up on Tennessee, maybe it's a pick six that goes your way, maybe it's a kick return that slides in your direction. But if you can get Tennessee down, they're kind of out quickly, Ray. They're very different from other contenders. That if you get Buffalo down 14-0, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're up on the Chiefs 14-3, who cares? even if you look at a team, Philadelphia, you're up on them 17-3. They can come back. They can make it a game. Is it likely? Probably not. But they can. Ray, if it's 17-3 with Tennessee, it's over. It's done. And so if Houston can get up early, which again, turnovers or special teams, whatever it may be, that's how you pull off the upset. And that's like these two teams are not 2 points apart. Even if you bake in the 3 points for being the home team, I don't think the Titans and the Texans are 5 points apart. There's something going on with that number here this game between the Texans and Titans.
Well, it's interesting too because we did have Ryan Tannehill injure his ankle. It wasn't really a national story until he missed a practice yesterday. He injured his ankle in the game. He went out of the game. He had the ankle taped. A couple plays after he returned, he got stepped on that ankle by a lineman. He was hobbling around. There is potential that Mr. Willis is the quarterback this week. He could make his first NFL start this week. That's still in play at the moment. And if that happens, everything doesn't get thrown out the window because the Titans don't drastically alter their offense. They're not going to throw the ball 42 times because Malik Willis is in there, right? But their offense could even be more difficult to defend because of his ability, obviously, to utilize his legs. So this one is, there's things percolating here. It's not likely to be a 30-27 game. It's likely to be a tight game as you're referencing here. It could go either way. The Titans continue to win all these close games and beat teams that we kind of look at it and we're not really sure how they're doing it. But it'll be interesting to see what would happen if they went from the veteran Tannehill to the youngster Willis.
Yeah, and maybe that is the reason. 40 and a half, I should say, is that point total. My player to watch, Ray, I had Tannehill. The ankle's one thing. Even if he starts, keep an eye on this guy. Maybe we see Willis come in there. We saw at the end of last week in a blowout. I'm not going to sit here, Ray, and say they're going to go all Mac Jones and the Patriots on us where like Tannehill's out there and after 3 drives, we plan to yank him for Malik Willis. But if it happens again, Ray, that would be 2 straight games where Willis comes in and handles some snaps and some action, a limping Tannehill. Their chances of winning are better with Tannehill. Don't get me wrong. No 2 ways about it. But if you see this door remaining open, it means that a change probably eventually happens at some point. So Tannehill's got to be the guy to step up. He's my guy to watch. Who's your guy to follow on Sunday?
My guy to follow is Brandon Cooks. I don't know if he's going to get traded. There's a lot of those rumors kind of circulating at this point in time. He's caught 4 balls in 3 straight games and caught 4 passes in 5 of 6 games. So he's still involved. He's still their lead pass catcher. But it's 4 catches for 52 yards, and that's it. There's no touchdowns here. There's no explosive games here. You look at the matchup on paper, it's one that they should be able to take advantage of. You look at the receiving core, Collins is beat up a little bit too. So I hope that Cooks has that big game this week that we've really been waiting for. But then I wonder if he has that big game, if it leads to him being traded, and then we'll have to reassess where he's at for the rest of the season.
My fade is a guy that I think everybody in season long you should start. You just have to because the quantity's there. But I don't have strong expectations this week for the rookie Dameon Pierce. So he's going to be my fade here. Tennessee's not been great against the run, but they've been solid. A lot of teams have not embraced the run against the Titans. So we'll see if Houston kind of follows the MO of saying we'd rather throw on the Titans than run against them. In fact, if you look at it, rushing attempts, it's pretty well... I guess they're running a decent amount. What do we got? 6 games here for the Titans. So it's about 22 carries a game, which is not a big number. I don't think Pierce is going to be to that level. I think Houston will open this up just a little bit more, try to take advantage of the Titans through the air. Titans have allowed a lot of touchdowns in terms of the passing game. The yardage is pretty high too. In fact, the Titans, I'm looking at it right now, Ray, they've allowed, and this is a crazy number, they've allowed almost 1,700 passing yards this year. That's a really high mark. Look at it on the other side. The Titans have yet to even pass for 1,000. So the Titans are minus 700 in pass yardage this year. I kind of think that continues. I'll pull back on Pierce. He'll be fine. And hey, if you get a touchdown, who cares? But he'll be my slight fade here.
Yeah, the Titans, by the way, 52% of the time run, 48% of the time pass, which makes them very unique. Like the Falcons are about the only other team there. Obviously, there's coaching connection there. Houston, on the other hand, is 38% pass, 62%. 38% run, 62% pass. So they're much more traditional in terms of how they run their offense versus the Titans are almost 50-50.
What do you got as your guy to fade?
I just talked about Brandon Cooks. You fade every receiver in this game besides Brandon Cooks. All of them. Both sides. No one. I mean, and,
Nico Collins? Come on.
No, he's hurt. I don't even know what his situation is for the week. There's no consistency there at all. The Titans, I mean, it's Robert Woods who catches 4 passes for his 39 yards, goes to bed each week. Every wide receiver other than Brandon Cooks, nope.
It's a 2. I'm trying to remember the last game watchability that involved the Texans or the Titans, where I gave it more than a 2. I'm doing 2 here.
2 as well. I agree with you on this.
The AFC South, henceforth, Ray, let's just call it the 2. It's watchability. Does it involve a South team? 2.
2.
AFC South 2. Yeah, AFC South 2. Let's go to a place where there is watchability, where you've got teams that are enjoyable to watch. Off to the NFC West. Big showdown. Man, it was just a few weeks ago we saw LA visiting San Francisco. Niners took care of business. This weekend, San Francisco is off to Los Angeles, and the visiting Niners are favored by 1.5 points. Over under is 43.5. It's fairly remarkable, Ray. I mean, the bottom is not falling out in LA. It's not falling out. They're still obviously within playoff striking distance. But it's kind of wild how the betting public has turned against the defending champs. And the same thing with Green Bay. The NFC, Ray, Green Bay was a favorite. LA was a favorite. And right now, nobody wants anything to do with these two teams. They're just like out on these two teams. Seeing San Francisco go to LA and being a favorite is it's not surprising with what we know, but man, if you had said this 3-4 weeks ago, you'd be surprised, I think.
Yeah. I mean, just think back to the end of last season, right? Like, this is a matchup everyone in the world should be excited about. You would have been circling it on your calendars, right? Now it's like, we've got the excitement with the Niners because they added Christian McCaffrey. You've got the fact that, Matthew Stafford is clearly the 31st best quarterback in the NFL, if you ask around. That's the way people are seeing it. And it's really interesting. People are in with the Jets. People are in with the Giants. Not so much with the Rams and the Niners. And that might be a mistake.
Well, don't forget, Ray, the Niners may have added Christian McCaffrey. The Rams are set to get Van Jefferson.
Fair point.
Okay. We'll see your ace and raise you on that ace. My favorite prop, Ray, I think the week off should do well for the Rams. It's got to be a reset moment, a chance to kind of say, okay, guys, let's get serious. We got problems. We got to fix this. We aren't this bad. Our offense should be moving the football. So I think I'm not going to predict a win necessarily, but I do think they're going to be better, and they're going to force the issue with the Niners. Niners are going to have to come with a good offensive game plan to win this one. For that reason, Ray, I am going to go with LAR, the Rams, over 2.5 touchdowns, plus 120. Before the year, you would have no issue going with this on the Rams. Zero issue. In fact, you might say that's minus 120. But now you get plus 120. They still have Cooper Kupp. Hopefully they've got this backfield figured out. Higbee, Stafford, all these guys. Getting that week off should help. So I feel good about that as my prop. Where are you going for your favorite prop?
Yeah, my favorite prop is I'm going all in with Christian McCaffrey. Let's smoke him while we got him. The Niners gave up a lot to get him. They couldn't get him heavily involved last week because he was new to the team and learning things. So my prop is a big one, huge odds. Here we go. He's scoring a touchdown on the ground. You can bank that one. He's getting in the end zone. That they will do that this week. The other two parts don't seem crazy. Now, we're not necessarily expecting 23 touches with the Niners like we were with the Panthers, but it's a touchdown on the ground, 50 yards receiving, 75 yards rushing, plus 600. Happening this week with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, not bad. We want to jump to the conclusion that immediately they're going to know how to use them. And remember, they got a lot of people. This is not Carolina anymore, Ray, where it was like the Christian McCaffrey show. Yep. Like every week, that was McCaffrey. Like those numbers you ran through at Carolina, like if that was Carolina at LA and McCaffrey was healthy like he is now, and you threw those numbers, you say it's plus 600 this week, that'd be like plus 450 with Carolina. Maybe. Just because he's the guy, you're going to get those touches. The uncertainty is still there with the Niners. So not a bad call, though, the plus 600. I mean, you get that kind of return on a full McCaffrey moment, with the rushing, the receiving, the touchdowns. Not a bad call at all. My player to watch, and, I did this a couple of days ago. I was looking at this game, and I thought maybe we get to see Kyron Williams. I don't know where we stand there, Ray. I guess it's probably more likely than not that he misses this game. It might be a little too quick for him to be out there and participating and ready to rock and roll. But if he's out there, he's my watch. I am fading Jefferson. I think it's fine to have Jefferson. I'm just not throwing him in there immediately. And that could be the wrong decision. I know we got a question in the chat room, the San Francisco secondary. You've talked about it, Ray. They're beat up, they're limping, they're trying to get stronger, get back to full health. Maybe there's that, shining moment for a deep bomb down the field. You got to recall with the Rams, part of the problem is there's so little protection for Stafford. The guy's getting clobbered. So to throw deep passes, you've got to protect. They've had that issue all year. I'll do a watch of maybe just the Rams backfield. Maybe that's the way to put it, in a fade of Van Jefferson. How about you?
Yeah, Nick Bosa's back, obviously. Armstead could return to this game. Jason Verrett's back in the backfield for the Niners this week. It's unclear how much he's going to play, but he's going to return to action. So the Niners are starting to get healthy on defense. Still a ways to go, but they're trending in the right direction, as we like to say. So my fate actually is Darrell Henderson this week. He hasn't run for 50 yards a season. And I know they had the week off, and we'll try to see, but it's a tough defense to run against. The Niners grade out as the 5th best rush DVOA defense. Second fewest points allowed. As I noted, they're starting to get a little healthy on that side of the ball. So I'm fading Henderson. And my player to watch, you look at the numbers here and you see Dawson Knox 5 yards, Kyle Pitts 19, Zach Ertz 45, George Kittle 24. The Rams are number 1 against the tight end this season, and they've held down some pretty good tight ends as well. But my guy is still George Kittle. He had that low game against the Niners, but that's really the only time here of late he hasn't produced. He's caught at least 5 passes in 3 straight games. So there haven't been huge games. Big game last week, but not huge games. I'm not saying there's going to be a huge game this week, but Kittle has tremendous history going for him. He's caught 5 passes or hit 100 yards in 7 of 8 games against the Rams. The only time he didn't do it was that last matchup. So I'm watching him this week.
And he still has that commercial going with him and his wife. Have you seen what's that for? I don't know. Is that for the Microsoft thing? I don't even know.
They sit on the couch and he's wearing glasses. I don't even remember what the hell it's for.
Yeah. That's one of those things, Ray, where sometimes I sit on my humble couch and, that like 2 years ago, there was a national ad campaign with Luke Voigt driving around like a BMW. Like BMW said, yeah, man, let's get on the Luke Voigt train. And we're going to promote our car with Luke Voigt, like purely nothing but the New York market thing. And Voigt was young and he was Luke Voigt, he's pouring me drinks this weekend now. That's how far he's fallen. So that one always put me off guard. And this Kittle one's kind of weird too. It's like, I like George Kittle, maybe because he looks young and cool and all that. And they're going for that edgy look, but that's one of those national campaigns I don't understand. Like, why is George Kittle on my TV?
It's funny, you do George Kittle commercials, and you get King of Smoke Ring. I didn't know that was. I guess he did a thing at one point for some barbecue thing. I don't know. Do you remember this?
King of the Smoke Ring. I don't know if I'd want that nickname.
Yeah, he apparently did one for Venom. The Spider-Man comic.
Yeah.
And he did a family loyalty and growing one, like 2020 optical vision for Zenny. Yeah,
he's quite the spokesman. Then he's got a good agent.
I think it is Zenny, Kyle. Zenny Eyewear is the commercial we're talking about.
Oh, with glasses. Zenny Eyewear. You may be. Is that a San Francisco business?
I don't even know.
That's got to be. Well, Ray, you live there. I thought I could ask you a simple question.
Don't go to San Francisco.
Somebody says, "Hey, Kyle, is Enterprise in St. Louis?" I go, "Yes, it is."
Oh, well, you know more than I do.
I'm very proud of the 7 businesses that still exist in this city. Ray's got like 4. Ray's got the entire Fortune 500
right down the street. Yeah.
He can't keep them straight, but we've got the Fortune 40,000 that are here in St. Louis. You will get, Ray, the Centene, which is they manage medical billing and insurance for like different states all over the country. They're kind of with the feds, and they handle Medicare for the most part. Anyway, Centene's a big business here in town. Originally, Ray, they were going to sponsor the new soccer stadium for the MLS team. It was like Centene Park or something. That has now been yanked. We're no longer Centene Park, so we have no sponsor right now.
Sorry about that.
So if you're looking to spend, Ray, you might want to get on there. Watchability, I got a 4.5.
I just went 4. I could have easily pushed it to 4.5. I went with the 4 though.
Okay, 4.5. I don't think I did favorite prop on Texans Titans. Did I? I don't think I did that.
Texans Titans. No, we didn't.
Okay, I got Cooks over 100 receiving and Henry over 100 rushing. plus 500.
Okay.
What do you got?
I've got Tennessee winning the game and the over-under being under 40.5 points, plus 225.
Okay, man, you're not expecting offense. Okay, then. Okay. On the way out the door, feed you a little dessert. Ray, do you have an alarm clock? Do you set one? Do you wake up to the sound of like a ringing Apple phone?
I have one. I rarely set it. My internal clock usually gets me up within about 10 minutes of when I want to get up.
Same here. I've got the internal clock. I did not know this, but they got I knew this. They have a new king over in England, King Charles III, I think it is. I did not know this, Ray. It has been a long-standing tradition. There is an official bagpiper who actually every morning, Ray, walks outside at the primary residence, Buckingham Palace, and the alarm clock is playing the bagpipes for 15 minutes to tell everybody in the household it's time to wake up and start your day. How amazing is that?
We need 15. Wouldn't 4 or 5 be sufficient? But 15. Let's go. Yeah.
Been going on for like 200 years. They
Pretty
played
sweet.
bagpipes as the alarm clock.
Not bad at all.
Buckingham Palace. Kind of a cool tradition. Our tradition is every day, 12 o'clock. We'll be back tomorrow on Friday right here with Lunch Money.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt.
Body didn't change.
We'll never know that
Got
for
hurt.
sure either.
Nah, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances
That's true. I
to
just,
get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The one year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he finished with. So no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and it's a shame though that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that. All those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man.
Yeah.
So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age. And we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31, he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15 to his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.